Thursday, October 30th. Today, protocol in place. How the city's plan to enforce a ban on homeless encampments in some public places will work. Hope and helplessness. Canadians await word from loved ones after Hurricane Melissa ripped apart parts of Jamaica. And a home run. The Jays take the lead as the World Series heads back to Toronto. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Thursday. Many of us waking up with a smile thanks to the Blue Jays' performance yesterday. We're going to have all the details on that game a little later, but Ainsley McPhail is live at a beautiful home this morning. Of course, it's the HSC Millionaire Lottery home. She's going to take us around. She's also going to give us the perks and the benefits of buying that lottery ticket. Yeah. We know goes a long way, not just potentially winning $1 million and getting a beautiful home.
There's that little perk.
There is that perk, but there's also the chance of helping patients, supporting research, and buying equipment, which is much needed in our province. So we're going to find out more about that. But the weather wasn't too bad yesterday.
It was beautiful yesterday. Oh my goodness, my stroll home, it was just so lovely. I didn't end up needing my toque after all. I had it stuffed in my pocket the whole way home. Anyway, this morning is going to be a little bit cloudier. We had that sunshine to enjoy yesterday, but now heavier clouds have started to move in. Our temperatures are still fairly mild and above seasonal, though. At 3 degrees, that's where we begin, when -5 would be a normal low. We've got a bit of a breeze. It's out of the south, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 83%. So yes, we've got the heavier clouds, and in fact, you'll be able to see that here looking at the satellite image. And more than clouds, there's a bit of precipitation that's going to be passing through. We might see a brief moment of showers, but more than showers, you can even see some of the gray in there. That's some flurries that could be moving into parts of the southeast. This is more just going to pass on by. We'll take a look at the futurecast. You'll see what I'm talking about. So this is what we were seeing right now on the satellite image, and that will be kind of more of a passing moment, lingering a little bit longer in that very southeastern corner, but it still will do this kind of wrap around through central Manitoba, and then we're seeing all of the flurries as it wraps around, and most of that will stay further to the west of us. And in fact, a lot of it'll stay in Saskatchewan. There will be a few places right along this very western border that might deal with a little bit of that flurry activity, but you can see the bulk of it is staying further west of the border. Still continues to wrap around overnight. We might get clipped again, and throughout the day tomorrow, some scattered precipitation is possible. There you can see into the afternoon. Still some very patchy, not very organized at this point. It is starting to taper off, but the heavier clouds are likely to linger until the weekend. That's when things will clear out a little more so, with a little more sunshine back again, and still a nice big warm up to come as we're pushing up into the double digits as we're looking ahead to the end of the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. We're learning more about how the City of Winnipeg will enforce a ban on homeless encampments in a number of public places. Last month, City Council approved a motion to prohibit them near playgrounds, schools, and transit shelters. Now there's a protocol in place to back up that plan. CTV's Jeff Keel shows us how it'll work.
This tent in Vimy Ridge Park is near a playground and a pool. And soon, the city could order this and others like it removed.
This is really a motion that was a call to action from residences, from families who are very concerned and want to be able to use these spaces during the day.
Last month, City Council passed a plan to prohibit homeless encampments close to playgrounds, pools, schools, daycares, care homes, transit shelters, bridges, rail crossings, and other sites deemed unsafe. Now, a protocol on how to achieve this has been released at City Hall. First, an encampment is flagged by a call to 311, an inspection, or observed by a city worker. A bylaw officer, mobile outreach worker, and the fire paramedic service visit the site. Before removal, people will be offered supports, transportation, and relocation options like what shelters are available. And they will be given verbal and written notices with timelines of when they have to leave. Then the site will be cleaned up. The protocol also says if need be, police can be called to support an eviction.
The social service agencies are going to be there to assist us, together with some bylaw officers, with the police, with the Winnipeg Fire paramedics.
If they're not able to use public spaces, where are they going to go?
Homelessness advocate Al Weeb questions how people can be evicted from a tent when there's not enough housing.
It's not a good thing to have people who have no idea about who the homeless are or how to engage with them to go in cold using a baseball bat approach.
The protocol does allow people living in tents to camp overnight in public places elsewhere, but They must leave by 1 hour after sunrise, and then they can return 1 hour before sunset. The new protocol comes into force on November 17th. Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A spokesperson says the expectation is that they will work with people to comply as quickly as they can, but there is no firm timeline in the policy to vacate an area. A city report says this will cost $244,000 this year and $382,000 next year for 2 bylaw officers and a senior coordinator. New details have been released in the attacks against a Winnipeg transit driver earlier this week. Police now say a youth pulled out what's believed to be a pellet gun and shot the driver in the hand during a dispute Monday afternoon. The driver was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Tactical support and K9 units were sent to the area of Gateway Road and Springfield Road, but were unable to find the suspect. Anyone with information is being asked to contact police. 3 men are facing charges following a homicide in the Interlake. Mounties were sent to a home in the Mississauga Cree Nation around midnight Saturday for a reported assault. They found a severely injured 34-year-old man who was brought to the local nursing station but later died. Investigators believe a fight broke out at the home, which culminated in the man being stabbed. 3 men between the ages of 19 and 25 were later arrested and charged with manslaughter. RCMP also say a video taken from around the time of the incident may be circulating. Anyone who has it or has more information is asked to contact Grand Rapids RCMP or Crime Stoppers. The Canoe government says it's added hundreds of additional teaching positions to Manitoba classrooms. Education and Early Childhood Learning Minister Tracy Schmidt says the government has added 832 teaching positions across the province since October 2023. This brings the number of funded teacher positions to 13,900. That's up from just over 13,000 positions 2 years ago. Schmidt says school divisions plan to hire 416 teachers this school year if they can find enough suitable candidates.
It's always a challenge to recruit new teachers, but we're working closely with l'Université Saint-Boniface, and they went from 65 students finishing their degree last year to 82 students this year, so there's a huge increase in numbers of new teachers to be recruited. Of course, is it enough? Well, it's never enough.
The province says it's taken several steps to attract and retain teachers in Manitoba. This includes implementing new teacher certificate requirements, creating retention strategies for French language teachers, and easing the pathway of certification for internationally educated teachers. Prime Minister Mark Carney is still in South Korea, where he met with the South Korean president this morning.
We're meeting at a time when our defense cooperation is beginning, and very importantly, that our cultural ties continue to grow.
The meeting happened on the sidelines of the APEC summit, which officially opens tomorrow. Prime Minister Carney also toured a shipyard today with Defense Minister David McGuinty. Canada is in talks with a South Korean company for a possible submarine building deal. Prime Minister Carney will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping tomorrow. It will be the first formal meeting between Xi and a Canadian Prime Minister since 2017.
Anything on Canada? Anything on Canada?
We had a very nice conversation with him last night.
Donald Trump on Air Force One said he had a very nice conversation with Prime Minister Carney. Prime Minister Carney yesterday confirmed the 2 leaders spoke during a leaders' dinner for the APEC summit. The Toronto Blue Jays are now just 1 win away from winning the World Series after crushing the Dodgers last night, and it all started with a bang.
Here he comes off from goal in Game 5 with a fastball that's hit in the air to deep left field. Call to the track. It's on the first pitch of Game 5. Very first pitch, and now Vlad Jr. hooks the ball down the left field line. They've got back-to-back to start Game 5.
Davis, Schneider, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. made history by cranking out 2 home runs back-to-back to open this game against the Dodgers. And then Trey Yesavage took care of the rest. The right-hander was dominant as Toronto rolled to a 6-1 win. He also set a World Series rookie record with 12 strikeouts and no walk-ins in just his 8th career big league start.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. Hollywood couldn't have made it this good. So just being a part of this, I'm just very blessed.
The Blue Jays could win it all. Game 6 goes Friday with a 7 p.m. Central start time in Toronto. Taking a look now at the current traffic situation along the Norwood Bridge. Things are looking pretty good to start off this Thursday morning. No issues to tell you about at this point. If you see anything out there, though, please let us know. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who is live in a beautiful home this morning. It's all for a great cause. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. HSC Millionaire Lottery. Midnight tonight is that early bird deadline. More prizes than ever. 32 of them valued at over $215,000. And you're entered to become a millionaire. Those grand prize options, I mean, look around. One of the beautiful homes you're looking at currently, another one in Oak Bluffs, in West St. Paul, in Winnipeg, even one on Vancouver Island. It's all for a great cause, though, and we're going to be chatting with folks about the research behind it, about their personal experience. And coming up at 6:45, we're chatting with Milt Stiegel as well, who's been an ambassador for this, about why the cause is so important to him. So stay with us throughout the morning.
Such a beautiful kitchen. Okay, thank you, Ainsley. It inspires me, Terry, for my own kitchen and what I envision in it. How's it feeling outside?
A little bit cool. I stepped outside and I immediately put the gloves on, which I noticed I didn't need yesterday morning, even though our temperatures, though, are still fairly mild and above seasonal. -5 would be a normal low for this time of year, so we're still lucking in, coming in above the freezing mark. 3 degrees is where we begin. There are some heavier clouds hanging around and just a bit of a breeze. It's out of the south that's moving at about 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling, the humidity sitting at 83%, and no precipitation falling just yet. The possibility is there, although it's a slimmer chance here in Winnipeg than, say, other parts of the southeast. We're going to see a little bit of activity just kind of briefly passing over us if we see it at all. But it will kind of settle into parts of southeastern Manitoba for later on this morning, and it could be a bit of a rain-snow mix with these slightly cooler temperatures this morning. For central Manitoba, showers very likely for you, and in areas off to the west of us, more so in Saskatchewan, but anybody right along that western border could be seeing a little bit of activity developing later on today. And according to our futurecast, it does look like it could be in flurry form. At least the possibility is there. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Good morning. A youth who was 15 years old when he fatally attacked 3 vulnerable people has been handed a life sentence. A Manitoba Court of King's Bench justice sentenced the now 18-year-old male to life in prison with no chance of parole for 7 years. The teen previously pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and manslaughter in the beating deaths of Danielle Ballantyne, Marvin Felix, and Troy Baguli in August 2022 near Winnipeg's downtown. He can't be identified because he was a youth when the crimes were committed. The defense asked for him to be sentenced as a youth, meaning a combination of 7 years in and out of custody, while Crown prosecutors argued the teen should be sentenced as an adult. The justice sided with the Crown, saying a youth sentence would be insufficient and wouldn't hold the teen properly accountable for his crimes. The vast majority of children and youth who died in Manitoba over the past year were Indigenous. That's according to data in the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth's annual report released Wednesday. It shows of the 206 people who died between birth and age 20, 80% were Indigenous, and a little more than half were under the age of 2. The most common cause of death was natural, followed by undetermined, which the advocate says could include sleep-related infant deaths or suspected overdoses. The data is preliminary and may change as autopsies are completed. Canada says it is ready to offer humanitarian assistance to Jamaica and Cuba. The 2 countries are reeling from the disastrous effects of Hurricane Melissa, which has killed at least 30 people across the Caribbean. The storm caused severe flooding, submerging buildings and triggering landslides. CTV's Allison Hurst now on the hope and the helplessness for Canadians awaiting word from their loved ones.
Michael Ryan watches the catastrophic destruction and devastating aftermath of Hurricane Melissa that pummeled Jamaica.
It's terrible, crazy, crazy, crazy. I've never seen nothing like that.
Ryan's niece lives in Kingston, which was spared the worst of it, but he says it's hard to see what happened to the places he used to call home.
And I see what's going on in Old Harbour Bay. Those are my kids' playground, down at those places. You know, I used to go to the beach with my mom to sell fish and buy fish. And when I see what's happening to old Harbour Bay, it shook me up.
Tyrone Hamilton says he's been trying to reach his son and daughter, but so far nothing is getting through.
Very anxious and worried.
Videos sent to him from his sister show the airport near his home destroyed and a street turned into a river.
I really can recognize it just flatten out, just like the house top all flatten out, you know. So everybody house top leaking, so no aid there right now.
The Jamaican Prime Minister has declared the entire country a state of disaster, with homes submerged in water, others completely ripped apart, and infrastructure down.
Folks in Little Jamaica are directly connected to people in Jamaica, relatives, families, friends, loved ones. I mean, it's really hard, and it's nerve-wracking and it's scary.
To help with relief, Anika Mark with Little Jamaica Community Land Trust has partnered with Reclaim Rebuild Eglinton West to organize a hurricane relief donation drive in the neighborhood on Saturday.
Some of the donations that we're going to need are clothing supplies, baby supplies, first aid kits, hygiene kits, batteries and flashlights.
All to help those now dealing with the cleanup.
Allison Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Zellers is coming back again. The chain is relaunching today with a location at Londonderry Mall in Edmonton. Zellers' last comeback happened under the Hudson's Bay umbrella. A family business bought the Zellers trademark as Hudson's Bay was going through bankruptcy. The plan is to start with the location in Edmonton, then expand to other major Canadian markets. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced that the U.S. military has carried out strikes in the Pacific Ocean against 4 boats accused of carrying drugs. The strikes carried out Monday and announced on social media Tuesday reportedly killed 14, leaving 1 survivor. It's the first time multiple strikes have been announced in a single day as the pace of attacks has escalated. Police in France have made 5 more arrests in connection to the Louvre jewelry heist. The 5 suspects were arrested in a series of operations in the Paris area. 7 people have now been arrested in connection to the robbery. Police say 1 of the 5 was part of the 4-person crew that broke into the Louvre. Officials say 2 of the suspects have partially admitted to being involved in the robbery. The crown jewels stolen, worth more than $100 million, have not been found. The biggest challenge to running this race is finding the right shoes.
I'm a size 14 in women's, so finding heels is really hard.
DC held its annual high heel race this week. It's a foot race and fashion show meant to celebrate community and pride. The event started in 1986 as a friendly contest between drag queens racing for local bars. Almost 40 years later, it's still running strong. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. Westbound Provencher is closed from Archibald to La Flèche. The northbound curb and middle lanes are closed on McPhillips from Jefferson to Stardust. Following the morning rush, the eastbound curb lane will be closed on Portage between Smith and Fort. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please text them to us at 10400.
Looking outside now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. We're not dealing with those clear conditions as we had yesterday morning, which of course then meant plenty of sunshine. That will not be the case this morning for most of us. Heavier clouds, but those clouds still provided a nice little blanket of insulation, and as a result, we're waking up with these above seasonal temperatures. You remember yesterday we were near the freezing mark, but there were places off to the west of us who had dipped several degrees below freezing, and now everybody is looking to be in the plus digits as we're waking up this morning with those extra clouds hanging over us. And in fact, more than clouds, I'll show you where the precipitation is falling right now. Up in northern Manitoba, a couple of places coming right in at the freezing mark, but if you're not at freezing, you're in the plus digits, so it is an above seasonal start right up into northern Manitoba. Taking a look throughout the day today at how these temperatures will be warming up. 3 degrees expected as kids are settling into the classroom, so kind of holding steady from where we're sitting right now. Up to 5 through the lunch hour and a high of 6 degrees today, which is above seasonal. 4 degrees would be normal for this time of year. So yes, we'll deal with the heavier clouds throughout the day today and the possibility of some brief passing showers. And that possibility of showers could actually extend overnight and maybe even through tomorrow. That chance of showers is still there. After that, looking ahead to the weekend, we're getting not just the sunshine back, but some warmth back as well, pushing up into the double digits, not just to wrap up the weekend, but kick things off next week, and still remaining above seasonal as we continue through the latter part of the week. And our weather picture is such a cool shot. So Christopher went out and set his time-lapse camera to capture the northern lights, and his dog there in the bottom right corner enjoyed the view last night. Thanks for this. Keep them coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca. We'll see you after this.
Good morning. A chilling reminder this week that some of the internet's biggest threats aren't hidden on the dark web. A Halifax teen has been charged in connection with a disturbing online group that preys on young people through everyday platforms like popular video games and chat rooms. As CTV's Stephanie Seacos tells us, authorities are warning parents and kids to be on alert.
The message sounds simple.
People, especially with children that are young, need to be extremely vigilant about what they're doing online.
That warning came after Halifax police arrested a youth for allegedly participating in an online violent extremist group.
These groups operate in plain sight through the chat features on very common online social media and gaming apps.
The youth faces several child pornography charges. The Canadian Centre for Child Protection says the number of offences on popular platforms is climbing.
We know from the reports that come into cybertip.ca that the majority of times when it involves some sort of extreme violence, it happens, the initial contact occurs in a gaming environment or a private chat environment like Discord.
The center says more needs to be done at higher levels to protect young people online.
Parents are one slice of the solution, and I think parents are already doing what they can for the most part. But we have to start pointing fingers at the companies themselves, and really it comes down to our governments who have to put together laws that protect those kids.
This is the great challenge of our time. These companies have made billions of dollars offering these online services with zero accountability for the repercussions of that connectivity.
According to police, the youth in this case was involved in 764, a subgroup of the COM network, which is made up of people who glorify serious violence and cruelty. Recently, Boaster Security, a cybersecurity software company based in New Brunswick, launched a new online learning module about the COM network in its platform for teachers and parents.
What we wanted to do was to explain to teachers and parents the signs to look out for, how much this is happening, that it's real, that they need to take an active role in protecting kids, and how to approach them and have these conversations.
For young people who may not know what to do.
If you're communicating with someone who's asking you to do something that you're not comfortable with, reach out to a trusted adult or the police or anyone that you have a good relationship with, because everyone deserves to be safe in their own home.
Stephanie Seacos, CTV News, Halifax.
There's been an exciting animal sighting on Vancouver Island. This is a marmot. They're one of BC's cutest critters, and with fewer than 400 left, this sighting on Vancouver Island is welcome news for conservationists. The Marmot Recovery Foundation caught the moment on camera, showing a Vancouver Island marmot interacting with its wild-born pup. The foundation was overjoyed because the critically endangered species, who once stared down extinction, has seen its population grow from just 30 in the 1990s to more than 350 today. Good news. Here's a look at what's happening outside on Kenniston Boulevard. Things are moving well. We'll be back after this short break.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Waking up to a few extra clouds this morning, but a few degrees warmer than it was yesterday morning. Sitting at 3 right now, which is closer to a normal daytime high than a seasonal low. We've got a bit of a breeze out of the south, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 83%. With those heavier clouds, the possibility of some scattered precipitation passing through. You can see it showing up in mixed form as we take a look right now at the satellite image. The green would be the showers, but that gray that you're seeing, some flurries that are moving just in areas south of us right now, probably to tuck into that southeastern corner of the province. 6 degrees is what we're looking at for a high today. Now 4 would be a normal daytime high, so we will be climbing above that. We're almost already there at 3, but we'll add a few more degrees onto that. But the heavier clouds are likely to linger, and that possibility of some scattered showers as winds today out of the south and then out of the west get to about 20 kilometers per hour, so a moderate wind expected through the day today. Still with the heavier clouds overnight, 2 degrees is where we'll fall to, so keeping us above seasonal normal lows would have us dropping to about -5 in the overnight hours. And tomorrow, perhaps again some scattered precipitation, a little more patchy as we're looking through the next couple of days. 5 degrees expected. So again, we're still looking at temperatures that are pretty agreeable, either seasonal or above, but then it warms up big time as we're moving through the weekend. We've got the sunshine back for Saturday and double digits for Sunday into the start of next week as well, and remaining above seasonal as we continue on. We will start to see a few extra clouds, but still those mild temperatures will stick around through the middle of next week.
Mounties are investigating a dramatic attempted arson at a business in southern Manitoba. Take a look at this. RCMP say it appears someone loaded a forklift full of jerry cans filled with diesel fuel, drove it through the door of a building, and attempted to light it on fire. It happened around 2:30 in the morning on October 10th in the RM of Morris. Anyone with information is asked to contact Morris RCMP. Manitoba's construction sector says the province wants to tackle big projects in the future, but warns there won't be enough skilled workers if industry training practices don't change. CTV's Daniel Homerson reports.
Manitoba's construction industry says changes to the way tradespeople are trained in the province may be to blame for a recent dip in apprenticeship numbers.
We think that Manitoba needs a serious job plan to make sure we have the construction workforce that's needed to deliver the construction that's coming.
According to provincial data, there were 2,370 new apprentice registrations during the 2024-25 fiscal year. That's a drop from 3,128 registrations during the previous fiscal year. The number of active apprentices also dropped by 250 during the same period. The Winnipeg Construction Association says the decline started after the NDP government introduced a 1-to-1 apprenticeship ratio in October 2024. It means a certified journeyperson can only train or supervise one apprentice at a time. The NDP said the change was made to provide better training and safer working conditions.
There's no link between an apprenticeship ratio and the safety of the worker. In Canada, almost every other province has at least 2-to-1 ratio.
The WCA, along with the Construction Association of Rural Manitoba, want the province to revert to a 2-to-1 ratio introduced by the former PC government in 2020 to boost the number of skilled workers working in Manitoba. However, the head of Manitoba Building Trade says the focus should be on workers getting the red seal.
The career is not to be an apprentice. It's the goal of our industry should not be to have as many apprentices as possible on site.
Tanya Paulson says registration numbers do vary year to year, and she's adamant the 1-to-1 ratio is working as intended.
It's about quality, it's about safety, and it's about sort of respect for the skill of the trade. We have really high completion rates within our union halls, and we've been working under that 1-to-1 ratio in most cases.
Daniel Homerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The issue came up in question period Tuesday. Jamie Moses, the Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation, defended the 1-to-1 ratio, saying it helps train high-quality skilled workers safely. Ontario Premier Doug Ford wants the U.S. ambassador to Canada to apologize to his trade representative.
Come on, Pete, you've been around for before Moses. Call the guy up and apologize. Let's start getting back on track.
Two government sources have told CTV News Ambassador Pete Hoekstra yelled at Trade Representative David Patterson at an event on Monday. The tirade was said to involve insults and bad language. Ambassador Hoekstra was reportedly angry over Ontario's anti-tariff ad. His office has declined comment on this story. A large-scale student walkout is expected today in Alberta after teachers were forced back to class.
We are the future doctors, future lawyers, future politicians of the world, and if we don't have a stable and healthy learning environment, then we will not be successful.
Hundreds of students are expected to walk out of classrooms today across the province. Some of the walkouts are scheduled to last just a couple hours, while others through the majority of the school day. Other students are planning to hold a sit-in where they will remain in class but will refuse to do any schoolwork. It's now cheaper to go and work out at an inner city fitness center. The Sherbrooke Pool and Fitness Center currently charges $8.55 for adults. That's how much you have to pay even if you only want to use the weight room. However, a city report says the fitness facility is dated and has accessibility challenges. So as a trial, the city is reducing daily admission rates to $3 for the fitness center for the next 2 years. City staff plan to monitor usage numbers and report back to City Council when the trial ends. A battle on the gridiron Wednesday between two high school football giants during the JV-12 championships. That championship showdown was between the Oak Park Raiders and Dakota Lancers. The cup went to the Raiders, who had a perfect season. Oak Park winning 48-12. And the Quad A Bramwell Bowl went to Brandon's Crocus Plains Plainsmen. They won 30-12 against the Sturgeon Heights Huskies. Turning to the JV-9 semifinals, where Miles Mack beat Crocus Plains 32-13 and Grant Park won 30-6 over Vincent Massey. Varsity football playoffs resume today. The Pirates' life is truly the life for this couple. Who goes there? Tom and Patty Blackstone have been putting together pirate-themed Halloween displays for the past 7 years. The ship is really cool. It opens up into their garage to show a below-deck scene, which features skeleton pirates. It also has working cannons, which they say the kids stop for Halloween care more about than the candy. I bet. Here's a look at what's happening now in traffic on the St. James Bridge. It looks like a smooth drive so far in this part of the city. No issues to tell you about. And let's look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.32. The provincial average is lower at $1.28. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.27. And the lowest price in the city is $1.16. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Here's a look at what's happening on Prevache Bridge. Things are moving well here, too. If you see any issues out there, let us know, please. We'll be back after this short break.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
All right, it's a little bit cool feeling out here, but only because I'm standing in the dark and there's kind of like some humidity putting us at 83% humidity. So there's a coolness to the air, but keeping in mind is more so that we haven't really adjusted to what is seasonal because we haven't really had a taste of it yet. Normal lows would be about -5, and instead we're at 3 degrees right now. The heavier clouds are hanging around. Yes, we're not going to be seeing as much in the way of sunshine as we got to enjoy yesterday. And there's a bit of a breeze to go along with that out of the south right now, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling. I mentioned the humidity up there at 83%, and the possibility of some precipitation to pass on through today. It's a slim chance here in Winnipeg, but we may see some brief passing showers. Other places through the south, far more likely to see some of that activity, especially further tucked into the southeastern part of the province. The chance of some showers or maybe even a flurry. And then a system cutting through central Manitoba. That's where you're likely to see some showers into the southwest for later today. Anybody right along that very western border could perhaps see some showers or flurries today as well. Heavier clouds, that'll be blanketing the province, northern Manitoba right down into the south.
Joining us today is a face all Bomber fans know. Of course, it's Milt Siegel, all-star receiver and member of the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame. These days, Milt is putting his energy into another great cause, supporting the Health Sciences Center through the HSC Millionaire Lottery. He joins me now. Good morning, Milt.
Yes, how you doing? How you doing?
So you've been doing this for a while. What inspired you to get involved with the HSC Millionaire Lottery?
When I was asked, and I knew about the Health Sciences Center, but when I was asked to be a part of this great cause, I did some research and I realized how impactful the Health Sciences Center is and was and will continue to be. I said, hey, I'm on board. This is a community that has done so much for me and my family. This is just my small way of giving back to this wonderful community of Winnipeg and, of course, Manitoba.
And you talk all the time about how much Manitoba and the community has given to you. Can you tell us why giving back through this lottery is so important?
It's so important because the Health Sciences Center, if you live in Manitoba, you're going to need it directly or indirectly. There's somebody in your family, one of your friends or someone who family or friend may need it. So throughout Manitoba, they do so much for so many. So this is the way that we help provide for them to continue doing what they do, the services, the doctors, the nurses, the research, the medical equipment, all the technology. That stuff is not free. So this lottery is a small way to help to make sure that they continue providing those great services.
You said it. You just said it so well. I myself have interviewed a number of their patients. What stands out to you more specifically about the care?
Well, it's just the technology. If you look at some of the equipment they have, there's very few institutions that have it across the world, not only in Canada, but across the world. And they provide those services and help out for so many throughout Manitoba. So, as I mentioned, that technology and that equipment is not free. It costs a lot of money, and this is how we make sure they continue having that equipment, having that service. So they provide so much, and we just have to make sure that they can continue providing those services for years to come.
And Milt, the prizes, let's get to it.
Yeah, there are some great prizes. Early deadline is at midnight tonight. If you want to get an opportunity to win a BMW EV, gas and groceries, and $85,000 cash, you got to get your tickets before midnight tonight. Also, the 50-50 is over $1.2 million. There's no cap on the 50-50. Grew to almost $1.4 million last year, and we're hoping and expecting that it's going to be more than that, and you get half of that. And also, you get an opportunity to be Manitoba's next millionaire, $1.25 million tax-free cash. So get your tickets before midnight tonight, and you have a great opportunity to win all those great prizes.
HSEmillionaire.com. Thanks, Milt.
Thank you.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones is trending lower. The Nasdaq also dropping overnight. The S&P index is flat. The loonie is trading around 71.70 cents U.S. The Hang Seng lost 63 points, and the Nikkei index added 18 points. Good morning. It is 6:47. The Canoe government says it's ready to open a detention center for people on drugs such as meth.
November 1st, we're ready to go. We've had construction in there. Manitobans have spoken loud and clear.
An NDP government bill now before the legislature would extend the amount of time people on drugs like meth can be detained. It would increase the 72 hours from the current 24 hours. However, making that November 1st date could be a challenge. Manitoba's opposition Progressive Conservatives have proposed several amendments, including a ban on having such centers within 500 meters of schools, parks, and care homes.
I think for Manitobans, it's very important that they get to hear the answers regarding Bill 48 and how it might or might not affect them, especially the people in the area of Point Douglas.
The government is hoping to pass the bill into law before the legislature session ends next week. Winnipeg police have arrested 7 teenagers between 12 and 15 years old after a crime spree in Garden City Sunday. Police say they received reports from 6 different businesses, including fast food restaurants, retail stores, and a grocery store located on McPhillip Street and Leela Avenue. In each incident, several youth reportedly entered the business and caused mischief, including stealing cash and other items along with damaging property. Police found a group of young people near Inkster and McPhillips. 7 youth now face charges of robbery, mischief, wearing a disguise, and breaching conditions. 6 remain in custody. 1 was released on an undertaking to appear in court. We're learning more about what could be in the Carney government's budget document. CTV's Rachel Aiello has more.
We need to bring back the civil service to a sustainable level.
The finance minister previewing plans to reduce the public service. The size of and spending on civil servants has soared since the pandemic. And multiple sources tell CTV News the cuts the federal government is looking at making would be through attrition as well as workforce adjustments, including the possibility of incentives for early retirement.
We'll be very transparent with people, but we're going to be very compassionate in how we do it as well.
Though this plan could still be subject to change, as the sources also said the budget document hasn't been finalized. Potentially playing a role in the revisions still being made, the Liberals haven't secured the support they'll need to see whatever they propose pass Parliament.
So it's becoming pretty clear that the government is going to use their costly budget as an excuse for costly elections.
The finance minister's latest pre-budget talk about tough choices came after he committed to spend more than $500 million on equality initiatives.
Many people watching right now are probably dreading winter, but remember, it can also look like this. The first snowfall of the season has blanketed the Swiss mountain village near the famous Blue Lake, making for a really photogenic day for hikers and visitors to the area at 2,000 meters altitude. It's beautiful. Here's a look at just a few reminders about closures this morning. Westbound Provencher is closed from Archibald to La Flèche. The northbound curb and middle lane are closed on McPhillips from Jefferson to Stardust. Following the morning rush, the eastbound curb lane will be closed on Portage between Smith and Fort. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please text them to us at 10400.
Yeah, it's not the first snowfall. The first snowfall is always beautiful. It's the 138th snowfall in March. Or April. That's when we get irritated. All right, taking a look outside right now. 3 degrees with some heavier clouds. South winds are 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling. The humidity sitting at 83%. I think as much as a lot of us love to put it off, that first snowfall, it is usually quite pretty. Although northern Manitoba has already had their taste of it. And whoa, that was a walloping that you had just, what, a week or so ago? Anyway, now we're looking at the possibility of some showers for most of us, but you can see some flurries tucked there right into that southeastern corner of the province, so you might be seeing a few flakes of snow later on today. The temperatures, they're going to be pretty much seasonal or even slightly above throughout the province today. That's pushing you up into the plus digits, or in fact, you're already in the plus digits through most of northern Manitoba. Now, there still could be a couple of flakes of snow along with some of that precipitation. Places like Churchill might see that. Over into the northwest, the possibility of a flurry or two in around the Flin Flon area, or more likely to see some showers around the Paw. Fistful of degrees above the freezing mark. That's not bad for this time of year when typically you'd be barely getting to freezing across much of northern Manitoba. Or here in the south, around 4 degrees would be a seasonal daytime high. And instead, we will be close to it. Like I said, it's not like we're going to be soaring well above it. We certainly had a much more beautiful day yesterday with all of that sunshine. But today, heavier clouds are likely and that chance of some passing precipitation. Most of us will be seeing it in the more liquid form. So we are still lucking in with these mild temperatures. And in fact, it's only going to continue to warm up. Today will be the coolest of what you can expect through the rest of the week. That, I'll remind you, is fog expected in the Fort Frances area. So today, or maybe some slightly cooler temperatures just for the next few, but 4 degrees is seasonal. And then all of a sudden, we're shooting beyond that up into the double digits as we're wrapping up the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. A sobering reality check on the state of the country's economy. The Bank of Canada cutting its key interest rate to 2.25%, and also warning that the tools it has to mitigate the impact of the trade turbulence are limited. It also adds it can't restore the economy to its pre-tariff path. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports.
The Bank of Canada delivering a bleak outlook, slashing growth projections as tariffs drive up costs for businesses and fuel uncertainty.
Part of it is structural. The U.S. has swerved to protectionism. It's harder to do business with the United States. That has destroyed some of the capacity in this country.
The bank is projecting Canada will narrowly avoid a recession with growth just 0.75% for the second half of 2025, and the economy overall 1.5% smaller by the end of 2026 than initially forecast. To help ease the trade shock, the central bank has cut rates to 2.25%.
There's nothing to cheer about here. I think we're lowering interest rates because the economy is under immense strain.
For now, the bank suggests it's done lowering rates as long as its growth forecasts don't change and inflation remains around 2%. But with unpredictable trade policies south of the border, experts say change can happen fast.
If U.S. policy stays where it is, then we can have a little more confidence in these kind of projections. But of course, the president can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and suddenly Canada's in a recession.
Macklem acknowledges there's not much more the bank can do to put the economy back on a better growth trajectory. That's why experts say they'll be looking extra closely to see what policies and spending the government includes in next week's budget.
Do you have any Festival du Voyageur pins, capots, or retro posters stashed away? Officials sure hope you do and are willing to share them. They're collecting vintage artifacts for their museum. The search is on for donations of memorabilia, including photographs, official programs, posters, T-shirts, even artist vinyl LPs. Festival is building up a collection ahead of its 60th anniversary in 2029.
hopefully folks have these things in their basement and they're willing to share it with us and share it with the larger community, right? Like you might have something that is really neat and you're like, whatever, I've had that for years. Doesn't mean everyone's seen that.
You can drop off items at Festival du Voyageur's main office at 233 Provencher Boulevard. The exhibit will go on display this February. A Gimli resident is cleaning up after a gruesome attack in her koi pond that left fish remains everywhere. The culprits? 2 hungry otters looking for a fresh meal before the weather turns cold. CTV's Joseph Bernacki spoke with the homeowner, who's been left with a big mess thanks to the pod pair.
Gimli resident Shannon LaBelle says something utterly ridiculous happened this week. Her koi fish pond is ruined following a furious attack by local otters.
I guess it was a all-you-can-eat sushi buffet for them, so they weren't stopping.
She used to find this koi pond in her backyard relaxing. It's been in her care for a decade. But after she came home from work on Monday afternoon, that all changed.
I looked out our window and I saw 6 koi lying on the ground. 3 were half eaten. The other 3 had looked to me like fatal, catastrophic injuries.
She put the injured fish back, hoping they would survive. But the next morning, things just got worse for them.
I woke up in the morning, looked out the window, and I saw the 2 otters going to town on all our koi that were left.
A security camera caught images of a small mammal near the pond the night before the second attack, but she thought it might be a badger or raccoon. But it was otters after all, as this video shows.
Even if you don't live in an urban area, coexisting with our wild backyard neighbors is pretty important. They're a very good sign of a healthy ecosystem.
Courtney Shewart, Conservation Programs Manager with the Assiniboine Park Conservancy, says river otters like these live in Manitoba waterways. She says an attack like this is not unexpected. Otters are predatory and like all kinds of fish. LaBelle's video took off on social media, much to her surprise. But she doesn't hold anything against the otters. She'll just miss her fish.
Looking at the pond and the stillness there, it's not the same. It's nature.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Gimli.
We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us. It's Thursday, October 30th. Today, encampment rules set. The city rolls out its plan to clear homeless camps from parks and playgrounds. Plus, classroom support grows. Manitoba adds hundreds of new educators to help ease pressure in schools. And Jays take flight. Back-to-back homers and a big win. The Blue Jays are one step closer to World Series glory. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. It is 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. At 7:52 in our Community Connection, we're going to tell you about a group of volunteers. They call themselves Urban Wagons. They go around helping unsheltered people, bring them resources, bring them water, food, supplies, anything they need. So they do need volunteers right now, and they do need some donations. So we're going to find out a little bit more on what you can do to support them. But the weather, a little cooler start today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm noticing that feeling, even though our temperatures are actually slightly above where they were yesterday. But yesterday, I think it was the promise of the sunshine coming out. We're not going to see that today. Here's a look outside, and we've got the heavier clouds hanging over us already, though 3 degrees is where we're sitting, and that's where I say we're actually well above seasonal, because -5 would be a normal low temperature, and in fact, 4 degrees would be a normal daytime high, so we're practically there already. We've got winds out of the south, 23 kilometers per hour, with the pressure falling. The humidity is sitting at 83%. Yes, it's dark. 8:14 is when we'll finally start to see the sunrise today. Yesterday, because it was so clear, we had the gorgeous glow in advance of the sun rising. Today, with the heavier clouds, we're probably not going to see that necessarily. Instead, we could possibly see some precipitation. You can see it showing up right now on the satellite image. The green is the rain, but there's a little bit of that gray in there. The possibility of some flurries to just kind of pass through, settling into that southeastern corner of the province. I'll show you what I'm talking about there. We're looking into the early afternoon, arcing through central Manitoba. Now, very scattered and patchy, the possibility of some precipitation across some parts of northern Manitoba, maybe a bit of a rain-snow mix in around the Churchill area. But along this western border, we can also see some of that activity. It does look like the bulk of it stays just a little bit further west of us, but along that western border, that possibility of some precipitation that into the evening time kind of starts to move a little bit more into Manitoba. Mostly staying in green or in liquid form in areas on the eastern side of the province. It's western Manitoba that could in fact see more so flurries as a result of this system, or at least the possibility is there. It will eventually be clearing out. We'll get a lot more sunshine into the weekend. The next couple of days we're still above seasonal with 4 degrees being normal, but we'll soar well above that into the double digits as we look ahead to the weekend. Our art today is thanks to 10-year-old Peyton. Love what you've done here with the flower and the cactus, is what she called it. And we'd love to see your art, so draw, color, or paint for us. Send that picture to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
We're learning more about how the City of Winnipeg will enforce a ban on homeless encampments in a number of public places. Last month, City Council approved a motion to prohibit them near playgrounds, schools, and transit shelters. Now there's a protocol in place to back up that plan. CTV's Jeff Gill shows us how it'll work.
This tent in Vimy Ridge Park is near a playground and a pool. And soon, the city could order this and others like it removed.
This is really a motion that was a call to action from residences, from families who are very concerned and want to be able to use these spaces during the day.
Last month, City Council passed a plan to prohibit homeless encampments close to playgrounds, pools, schools, daycares, care homes, transit shelters, bridges, rail crossings, and other sites deemed unsafe. Now, a protocol on how to achieve this has been released at City Hall. First, an encampment is flagged by a call to 311, an inspection or observed by a city worker. A bylaw officer, mobile outreach worker, and the fire paramedic service visit the site. Before removal, people will be offered supports, transportation, and relocation options like what shelters are available. And they will be given verbal and written notices with timelines of when they have to leave. Then the site will be cleaned up. The protocol also says if need be, police can be called to support an eviction.
The social service agencies are going to be there to assist us, together with some bylaw officers, with the police, with the Winnipeg Fire Paramedics.
If they're not able to use public spaces, where are they going to go?
Homelessness advocate Al Weeb questions how people can be evicted from a tent when there's not enough housing.
It's not a good thing to have people who have no idea about who the homeless are or how to engage with them to go in cold using a baseball bat approach.
The protocol does allow people living in tents to camp overnight in public places elsewhere, but they must leave by 1 hour after sunrise, and then they can return 1 hour before sunset. The new protocol comes into force on November 17th. Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A spokesperson says the expectation is that they will work with people to comply as quickly as they can, but there is no firm timeline in the policy to vacate an area. A city report says this will cost $244,000 this year and $382,000 next year for 2 bylaw officers and a senior coordinator. The Canoe government says it's added hundreds of additional teaching positions to Manitoba classrooms. Education and Early Childhood Learning Minister Tracy Schmidt says the government has added 832 teaching positions across the province since October 2023. This brings the number of funded teacher positions to 13,900. That's up from just over 13,000 positions 2 years ago. Schmidt says school divisions plan to hire 416 teachers this school year if they can find enough suitable candidates.
It's always a challenge to recruit new teachers, but we're working closely with l'Université Saint-Boniface, and they went from 65 students finishing their degree last year to 82 students this year, so there's a huge increase in numbers of new teachers to be recruited. Of course, is it enough? Well, it's never enough.
The province says it's taken several steps to attract and retain teachers in Manitoba. This includes implementing new teacher certificate requirements, creating retention strategies for French language teachers, and easing the pathway of certification for internationally educated teachers. The U.S. Senate has passed legislation that would nullify Donald Trump's tariffs imposed on Canada.
Tariffs are hurting our economy, hurting our citizens, hurting our businesses.
While the resolutions won't ultimately take effect, they have proven to be an effective way for Democrats to expose cracks between the president's trade policy and Republican senators who have traditionally supported free trade agreements. The 50-46 tally was the latest in a series of votes this week to terminate the national emergencies that President Trump has used to impose tariffs. Toronto Blue Jays ambushed the Los Angeles Dodgers Wednesday night in Game 5 of the World Series.
Here he comes, and off we go in Game 5 with a fastball that's hit in the air to deep left field. Call to the track. It's a home run on the first pitch of Game 5. On the very first pitch, and now Vlad Jr. hooks the ball down the left field line. They've gone back to start Game 5.
The Blue Jays are the first team to hit back-to-back home runs to start a World Series game. The Jays took this one with a score of 6-1. This means Toronto now leading the series 3-2. Game 6 is in the best of 7 series will happen in Toronto Friday at 7 p.m. Here's a look at what's going on now at Confusion Corner. Things are moving well here. We have no issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you do see any problems out on the streets, though, please let us know about them. Text them at 10400.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
U.S. President Donald Trump and China's Xi Jinping agreed to extend a tariff truce, roll back export controls, and reduce other trade barriers in a landmark summit on Thursday, potentially stabilizing relations between the world's biggest economies after months of turmoil. In the first sit-down between leaders since Trump's return to the White House, the pair agreed China would pause sweeping controls on rare earth magnets in exchange for what Beijing said was a U.S. agreement to roll back an expansion of restrictions on Chinese companies. 3 of the so-called Mag 7 companies reporting their third quarter earnings, Meta Platforms shares falling on the pre-markets as much as 7% at times after the Facebook parent reported third quarter results and gave an outlook. Analysts noted some concern over the company's heavy spending. Meta, along with fellow Magnificent Seven peers Alphabet and Microsoft, racked up some $78 billion in capital expenditure last quarter, an 89% increase from a year earlier. Now, Microsoft shares slipping as much as 3.5% on pre-market trading after the software company reported its results, where analysts are broadly positive on the report, especially growth in its Azure cloud computing business, but said investors' expectations were elevated. And Alphabet shares gained as much as 7.1% in pre-market trading on Thursday after the Google parent reported third quarter results that beat the expectations. Analysts are especially positive on its cloud computing business. If the gain in pre-market trading holds, the stock is set to hit its highest level on record. As of the last close, the stock has risen 45% this year. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at a beautiful show home in West St. Paul this morning. It's all for a great cause, HSC Millionaire Lottery. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. I think I know what I'm going to be for Halloween.
Oh.
A homeowner, don't I? I think I'm doing a very good job.
Well, you better get on it. Buy that
I'm
ticket.
I'm going to have to get a ticket, though.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Or the cash. I think the cash should be okay. I think it would look good on me, too. $1.25 million in tax-free cash. But I have to tell you, the early bird deadline is midnight tonight. More prizes than ever. The 50-50 jackpot currently, or by the end of day, will be over $1.2 million. You'll get half of that. There's also those grand prize options, those home packages, one in West St. Paul, one in Oak Bluff, even a property on Vancouver Island. So stay with us throughout the morning while we learn about a lot more of those prizes, but also the care, the patient care at HSC and what you're really supporting for Manitoba's hospital. So many of us know folks who have been there or know someone who has, so stay with us throughout the morning.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop. What would you, Terry? Money or a house? What would you take?
Cash, please.
Yes, me too.
I think this is going to be a lot of people's choices, although I've been in that home and it is beautiful. Honestly, it's got this beautiful little backyard lake pond. It is quite stunning. So, yeah. Anyway, out here this morning, we've got some heavier clouds hanging over us. There is the possibility of a brief passing bit of precipitation, but for us, we're lucking in with these above seasonal temperatures, so if we do see that, it'll likely stay in liquid form. 3 degrees is where we're sitting. 4 is a normal daytime high. What would typically be felt around this time of morning would be -5. That is a seasonal low temperature, and we're well above that this morning. The breeze out of the south is 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, and the humidity is sitting at 85%. So yes, we're dealing with heavier clouds today. It's not going to be the bright and sunny day that we got to enjoy yesterday. I hope you made the most of it, because now we're not likely to see much in the way of sunshine for the next couple of days. Today and tomorrow, heavier clouds, the possibility of some scattered precipitation, and that pretty much goes around the province. It will be a slimmer chance of that precipitation. Some places through central Manitoba may be more likely to deal with some showers, or along that western border, maybe even some flurries. That's what's been showing up on our satellite image and on the Futurecast as well. So just keep that in mind. The chance is there, but then it's going to be warming up big time for the weekend. We'll also see the sunshine back after a couple of cloudier days. And these days, next couple, will be a little bit cool, but close to seasonal, or what you would expect this time of year.
Thank you, Terry. It's time now for a question of the day. We want to know, what's your favorite Halloween memory? You could text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. Well, it's time for our Pet of the Week reveal. This week, we're celebrating Chewy. This pup and its owner had a hard time deciding between Halloween costumes, but here at Your Morning Winnipeg, we think the ghost one is a winner. Chewy is named after Chewbacca from Star Wars and wants to wish all their doggy friends a happy Halloween. Congratulations to Chewy. We love your Pet of the Week submissions, so keep them coming, please. Share a photo and a fun story of your pet, dog, cat, bird, or anybody at petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then make sure to watch Thursdays to see if your pet is named our Pet of the Week. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this. Good morning, it is 7:16. 5 youth got more than they bargained for while playing Ding Dong Ditch in Brandon last week. The game involves ringing doorbells and running away, but at one home, a man who answered the door reportedly got in his vehicle and started chasing the kids. According to Brandon police, the man caught one of the youth, handcuffed her, and drove her to her house. The girl's mother called police and reported the man, who turned out to be an off-duty RCMP officer from the Verdun detachment. Brandon police reported the incident to the Independent Investigation Unit of Manitoba, which is now investigating. Anyone with more information or video footage is asked to contact the IIU. A youth who was 15 years old when he fatally attacked 3 vulnerable people has been handed a life sentence. A Manitoba Court of King's Bench justice sentenced the now 18-year-old male to life in prison with no chance of parole for 7 years. The teen previously pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and manslaughter in the beating deaths of Danielle Ballantyne, Marvin Felix, and Troy Baguli in August 2022 near Winnipeg's downtown. He can't be identified because he was a youth when the crimes were committed. The defense asked for him to be sentenced as a youth, meaning a combination of 7 years in and out of custody, while Crown prosecutors argued the teen should be sentenced as an adult. The justice sided with the Crown, saying a youth sentence would be insufficient and wouldn't hold the teen properly accountable for his crimes. Avian influenza has been found on 5 farms in Manitoba this month. According to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the cases were detected in commercial poultry flocks on 3 farms in the RM of Hanover and 1 each in the RMs of Bifrost, Riverton, and St. Rose. They were found between October 9th and 25th. These are the first cases detected in Manitoba since May. The exact number of infected birds wasn't released. As per protocol, the animals will be destroyed and quarantine and decontamination measures will be put in place. The CFIA notes bird flu is not a food safety concern and there's no evidence eating cooked poultry or eggs can transmit the virus. Here's what's happening now in traffic along Portage Avenue at Polo Park. Looks like a smooth drive so far. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
Manitoba Theatre for Young People's newest performance is prompting conversations about reconciliation. The Mush Hole returns to the main stage this weekend.
I tore this school
Combining song, dance, and theater, the Mush Hole explores the lives and spirits of children forced to attend the Mohawk Institute residential school in Ontario. Indigenous artist Santee Smith created and produced the play, pulling from interviews and writing from the school's survivors. The play is recommended for children 13 and up. The Mush Hole runs this weekend and next weekend, November 1st to the 9th. For tickets, visit mtyp.ca. A popular teen saga from the early 2000s is returning to movie theaters.
What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
The Twilight Saga is hitting screens again in honor of the 20th anniversary of the first book in Stephenie Meyer's series. The first film, released originally in 2008, will be on select screens today through November 6th. The sequels will roll out for a day each through the 2nd. The saga grossed more than $3 billion in theaters. Harry Styles is beginning a residency in Las Vegas, kind of. Madame Tussauds in Vegas has unveiled a new wax figure of the singer. It recreates his 2023 Brit Awards look, dressed in a red sequin jacket. It took 20 artists 9 months to make this one, sculpting, painting, and hand inserting every strand of hair on his head as well. This isn't his first time in wax form. He's also been immortalized alongside his former One Direction bandmates. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with Hell's Kitchen. 911 Nashville is on at 8, and Grey's Anatomy is next at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV. For a second there, I thought Harry Styles was going to be in Vegas, but only kind of.
In wax form.
Yes. Looks pretty realistic. It's incredible.
Those wax, they honestly are. They're shocking how lifelike they seem. I mean, until they don't move, and then you're like, okay, you only have to look at them for a few seconds. You're like, you haven't blinked.
Right.
That's weird.
Yeah, they're
the
cool.
work that goes into them, though, that's always fascinating to hear. Each hair stitched in individually.
I know.
I couldn't
It takes
imagine.
a long time.
Yeah, you bet it does.
It's perfect. Just perfect.
Okay, let's take a look outside, because I'm not sure that anyone's going to be calling today just perfect. We're looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. We've got some heavier clouds hanging over us right now. Temperature-wise, we're still above seasonal, a few degrees above the freezing mark. In fact, when seasonal low temperatures would be about -5. Now, yesterday morning, you remember, most of the southwest was a few degrees below the freezing mark, but we had those clear conditions yesterday, which, of course, set us up for all the sunshine through the day. That's not going to be the case today. We've got some heavier clouds, but what they did do, even though they'll block the sun once it rises today at 8:14, they provide a little bit of a layer of insulation, and as a result, there's those very mild temperatures that we're waking up to this morning, several degrees above what is normal for this time of year. Right up into northern Manitoba, we've got the clouds hanging over us. 0 degrees for places like Thompson, Lynn Lake, but everybody else is into the plus digits already this morning. Now, the clouds pretty much across the province, and even the possibility of some precipitation. You can see it there on the satellite image. The green indicative of the rain, but there's also a little bit of that gray, which could be some possible flurries that are maybe going to be passing just into that southeastern corner. 3 degrees as kids settle into the classroom, so the temperature may not have budged much. 5 degrees as they're heading out for lunchtime, and by the time they're coming home again, up to 6 degrees. Now, 4 is normal for this time of year for a daytime high, and the next few days will be close to those numbers with the heavier clouds lasting. But into the weekend, the sunshine comes back, and that's when those temperatures really start to climb. Our weather picture today is an incredible shot of the northern lights that were captured last night, and that's little Kona in the bottom right corner enjoying the scene. Thanks to Christopher for the photo. Keep the pictures coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Bone marrow transplants have saved countless lives, but often come with life-changing consequences. Now, as CTV's Martin McMahon reports, new research from BC Children's Hospital is providing new hope.
For childhood leukemia patients, bone marrow transplants are one of the few options available. And while up to 80 to 90% of those transplants are successful, there's a significant risk of chronic graft versus host disease, or GVHD.
When we transplant this brand new immune system in, it can reject the entire body, and that can actually, people die of that, or it can cause a chronic disease.
GVHD can lead to devastating consequences.
I've even had one adult say to me, if I had known what this disease, this chronic graft versus host disease was, I don't know if I would have had the transplant and be cured of my leukemia in the first place. I'm not sure the suffering I've had over these 10 years or 20 years is worth it.
But work from Schultz's team at the BC Children's Hospital Research Institute offers new hope. They've identified that GVHD has 3 subtypes, with early data showing one type responds to standard steroid treatment, while one doesn't.
Our goal is to not only get that cure rate and that cure from this type of therapy, but also to get it safe enough that people go on and have a completely normal life.
For parents like Katharina Sagan, who now works at BC Children's Hospital after seeing her own son go through childhood leukemia, this research provides hope.
Hope means that you will be able to get married, you will be able to graduate, you will be able to finish high school, university, drive, and do a lot of the things that normal young adults can do.
Sagan's son Bailey was actually treated by Dr. Schultz 20 years ago.
With a lot of the research that's coming out right now, it does give a lot of families a fighting chance and better outcomes.
As for Bailey, he survived childhood leukemia, even going on to play football for Vancouver College, with hopes this research will allow others to live similarly full lives. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
A new museum exhibit allowing you to experience the odor of love, the stench of medieval Paris, or the sacred fragrance of religion, all through smells. A new exhibition in Germany allows visitors to discover unknown worlds of smells by sniffing their way through 81 different fragrances across 37 different galleries. The show is called The Secret Power of Scents, open to the public today in Dusseldorf. It combines fragrances with art, taking visitors on a journey of more than 1,000 years of cultural history. The various galleries are equipped with atomizers and diffusers to create a connection between the art and the smell of a specific time period or cultural context. Isn't that cool? Here's a look at Kenny just relaxing in a home he'd like to own or win one day. We're going to have more details on the HSC Millionaire Lottery after this. Some of the grand prizes in the HSC Millionaire Lottery are worth $1.5 million, but there are so many other amazing prizes in addition to that. Good morning, Ainsley. Tell us more.
Good morning, Rochelle. Yeah, worth thousands. The early bird deadline, midnight tonight. You could be a millionaire. Whitney Morrison joins us now to tell us all about it alongside Julieta. So, a lot of prizes, more than ever before. What are some of them?
Yeah, that's right. We're super excited. So for this year's early bird, we have 2 winners. We're giving away a BMW full electric vehicle plus Indigeno travel vouchers so you can take several dream vacations. Or the 2 lucky winners can choose $85,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all. We also have 30 additional winners who will get $500 each in Red River Co-op gift cards for gas and groceries.
Wow, that's a lot of winners. So get those tickets as early as you can. The 50-50, no cap on it, and it's at over 1.2. It will be.
Yeah, this is so exciting. There is no cap on our 50-50, and our 50-50 is always the biggest in Manitoba in the fall, and this year is no exception. So go to hscmillionaire.com, get your main tickets, and then add on a 50-50 ticket for just $25.
Mm-hmm. We can't bury the lead here, too. You could be a millionaire. You could win $1.25 million in tax-free cash, or a beautiful home like the one we're in right now.
Yes, that's right. So this gorgeous home is by Merrick Homes. It is stunning. It's a little dark right now, but there's a beautiful view of the lake in the back, and there's the river across the street. It's absolutely gorgeous. All of our homes are stunning, and all of the home packages comes with cars, cash, gas, and groceries, and more. And yeah, you could always take the cash option, which is $1.25 million tax-free.
Hey, Terry Gale, if you're listening, make that sun go up sooner because I want to see this view. That's awesome. HSC serving so many Manitobans. Tell us about this cause and why people should support.
Yeah, the HSC Millionaire Lottery is basically a huge fundraiser for HSC. And what a cool way to make a donation this year. You know, you're buying your ticket and you're hopefully getting something fantastic for yourself. So go to hscmillionaire.com, pick up your tickets today, and change a life and save a life.
Julieta, you have a quick thing to tell our audience.
We need HSC, and HSC needs you. Good luck, everyone.
She was good. Thank you, Ainsley.
I know.
Well, we won't see much of the sun when it does go up, Terry.
No, but at least, okay, so 8:14 is when it officially starts to rise. We should start to see a little bit of brightness behind Ainsley. I mean, not brightness, but daylight, I suppose. So it's just all the more reason to stay tuned so you can see what that stunning home looks like in that beautiful lake in the backyard of it. 3 degrees is where we're sitting right now. We've got those heavier clouds hanging over us, and they will be hanging around pretty much all day today. South winds are 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 85%. It does just look so dark out there right now. But again, that's because we've got these heavier clouds. This time yesterday, we were already seeing the glow of the sun, but that's because we had those clear conditions which set us up for the beautiful sunny day that we had yesterday. That's not going to be the case today across the province. Heavier clouds are expected, although it does look to be a little bit clearer in areas just off to the west of us. Off to the east of us and about passing over us right now, the possibility of some precipitation. This will move right into that southeastern corner of the province. So we do have that chance or the possibility of seeing some brief passing showers today, but our temperatures, they're likely to remain above seasonal. I mean, we're already above a normal low. -5 would be a seasonal low. 4 degrees a normal daytime high. We'll surpass that. Headed up to about 6 today. That'll be just a couple degrees above seasonal, but those heavier clouds are sticking around. They will overnight as well as we drop down to 2 degrees. Tomorrow, 5. Again with the heavier clouds and the possibility of some scattered precipitation. After that, the sunshine will be back again just in time for the weekend, and in time for the weekend, warming temperatures pushing up into the double digits by Sunday.
The Canoe government says it's ready to open a detention center for people on drugs such as meth.
November 1st, we're ready to go. We've had construction in there. Manitobans have spoken loud and clear.
An NDP government bill now before the legislature would extend the amount of time people on drugs like meth can be detained. It would increase to 72 hours from the current 24 hours. However, making that November 1st date could be a challenge. Manitoba's opposition Progressive Conservatives have proposed several amendments, including a ban on having such centers within 500 meters of schools, parks, and care homes.
I think for Manitobans, it's very important that they get to hear the answers regarding Bill 48 and how it might or might not affect them, especially the people in the area of Point Douglas.
The government is hoping to pass the bill into law before the legislature session ends next week. Manitoba's construction sector says the province wants to tackle big projects in the future, but warns there won't be enough skilled workers if industry training practices don't change.
There's no link between an apprenticeship ratio and the safety of the worker. In Canada, almost every other province has at least 2-to-1 ratio.
Manitoba's construction industry says the NDP switched to a 1-to-1 apprenticeship ratio a year ago may be to blame for a dip in apprenticeship numbers over the past year. It means a certified journey person can only train or supervise one apprentice at a time. At the time, the NDP said the change was made to provide better training and safer working conditions. The WCA and the Construction Association of Rural Manitoba want the province to revert to a 2-to-1 ratio introduced by the former PC government. However, the head of Manitoba Building Trades says 1-to-1 is the right way to train.
It's about quality, it's about safety, and it's about sort of respect for the skill of the trade. We have really high completion rates within our union halls, and we've been working under that 1-to-1 ratio in most cases.
Jamie Moses, the Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation, defended the 1-to-1 ratio in question period, saying it helps train high-quality skilled workers safely. Hundreds of Stellantis employees rallied outside an Ontario manufacturing plant Wednesday after the company announced it would be moving production south of the border.
They worked hard, they deserve answers, and it's sad.
Around 3,000 jobs are expected to be impacted as Stellantis shifts production of its Jeep Compass EV from Brampton to Illinois. In Ottawa, the company's CEO said the decision to move production was not taken lightly.
When we have trade certainty, it certainly allows us to make an informed decision. Right now, we don't have that trade certainty, and it's not just a Stellantis concern.
The Brampton plant, which has been down since early 2024 to prepare for the new production line, had about 3,000 employees before it shut down. Elon Musk is taking on Wikipedia with a new AI-generated site. It's called Grokpedia. And Musk says it will provide, quote, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It launched with more than 885,000 articles. Unlike Wikipedia, this site won't allow users to make edits, but Musk said they will be able to ask Grok to add, modify, or delete articles, and it will then take the action or tell you why it won't. A battle on the gridiron Wednesday between two high school football giants during the JV 12 championships. That championship showdown was between the Oak Park Raiders and Dakota Lancers. The cup went to the Raiders, who had a perfect season, Oak Park winning 48-12. And the Quad A Bramwell Bowl went to Brandon's Crocus Plains Plainsmen. They won 30-12 against the Sturgeon Heights Huskies. Turning to the JV 9 semifinals, where Miles Mack beat Crocus Plains 32-13 and Grant Park won 20-6 over Vincent Massey. Varsity football playoffs resume today. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. Westbound Provencher is closed from Archibald to La Flèche. The northbound curb and middle lanes are closed on McPhillips from Jefferson to Stardust. Following the morning rush, the eastbound curb lane will be closed on Portage between Smith and Fort. If you have any other traffic tips, please let us know. Taking a look now at your gas prices, the Canadian average is $1.32. The provincial average is lower at $1.28. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.27. And the lowest price in the city is $1.16. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Right now, it's 3 degrees. It's cloudy. We'll be back after this short break.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
That looks pretty, doesn't it? Yeah, just a glow off to the east where the sun will eventually be rising. 8:14 is official sunrise. What do they say? Red sky and morning sailors take warning. I don't know if we have any sailors in our landlocked province, but it certainly is a red sky, so you know something's coming our way. 3 degrees right now with south winds at 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 85%. And it only takes a glance at the satellite image to see what that something is. Some precipitation moving through the southeastern corner of the province. The green is rain, that little bit of gray that we're seeing. Some flurries just off to the east. We can also see more of those flurries through parts of Saskatchewan right now. This whole system doing a little bit of a wraparound motion, so we could see that kind of closing into folks along that western border, although for now it's looking on the clearer side. Right up into northern Manitoba, those heavier clouds will be noticed today, and the possibility of some mixed precipitation up around the Churchill area. You certainly could see some of that. Otherwise, mainly cloudy conditions all throughout northern Manitoba, and again along that western border, the possibility of some of that precipitation as well. You might see a flurry or two tucked in there in the Flin Flon area. The Pas at this point showing just some liquid precipitation showers possibly, and that could be the case for Swan River as well, as those heavier clouds will eventually build back up along that western border. You might get a few more breaks of sun. We've been looking at the satellite image and seeing slightly clearer sky in around the Neepawa area, and we might have a few breaks in those clouds, although mainly cloudy conditions are expected through most of the southeast. And then yes, that possibility of some passing precipitation. We could see a shower or two or a flurry further to the east of us. Places like Sprague may see some of that. And then it's fog that'll be the issue. Those are the lines that you're seeing in around the Fort Frances area. Now, the next few days, temperatures pretty close to seasonal, maybe slightly above, 4 degrees being normal, but it will clear out nicely with sunshine for the weekend and warmer temps to come with it.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live and telling us all about the HSC Millionaire Lottery and an important deadline tonight at midnight. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. The early bird deadline. Get those tickets, hscmillionaire.com. Jonathan Lyon joins me, President and CEO of the HSC Foundation. Jonathan, when you're purchasing that ticket, it goes towards some pretty important stuff, including state-of-the-art equipment.
Yeah, there's no question. There's a direct line between an investment in a lottery ticket, a chance to win great prizes, but ultimately it allows for the foundation to deliver better care through supports to the hospital. So we're buying something this year. We bought the Da Vinci robot, surgical robot, and that, you know, just one example in women's health. They've performed up to the end of September around 90 patient cases this year, and of those, 25 of the women who had procedure with the Da Vinci would not have been eligible if it wasn't for that minimally invasive advanced technology. So it's really an example of how lottery dollars help fund innovation at HSC that ultimately benefits all Manitobans. So that's 25 people who wouldn't have had a surgical outcome or an option. And so that is just a microcosm. We're doing that on a larger scale across a number of surgical states to buy minimally invasive equipment so that people have shorter hospital stays. They can come in and out, literally in some instances the same day, have a procedure. So that allows them to recover at home. There's less chance that they're going to have any sort of complications with it, and better outcomes. And that's what it's all about. When Manitobans get sick, they need state-of-the-art care that is developed through technology, and that allows us to attract and retain medical professionals. If we're able to make investments in facilities and equipment, that sends a signal to medical professionals that we're serious about providing great health care for Manitobans, and lottery purchasers play an integral role in that. So thank you to all Manitobans for your support, and we encourage everyone to buy a lottery ticket so we can help our loved ones with better care for all Manitobans.
Jonathan, thank you so much. You said everything in one question, and we're out of time. I'm so sorry. Great job. Midnight tonight is that deadline, though, for the early bird. Make sure you get your tickets now. HACMillionaire.com.
Thank you, Ainsley. Soon we could all be getting a ticket for an airplane that flies faster than the speed of sound without the sonic booms that rattle homes and people on the ground. It comes after a test flight is bringing us one step closer to resuming commercial supersonic flight. Sophie Flay reports.
It's called the X-59, and it could be this century's Concorde. NASA's experimental jet taking off yesterday on its first test flight over the California desert. Built to fly 925 miles per hour, nearly twice as fast as today's commercial airliners. The X-59 is designed to be the first aircraft to break the sound barrier quietly.
Meticulously engineered, it produces a gentle thump, a mere whisper compared to the disruptive booms of the past.
The explosive-like sonic boom is why commercial supersonic flight has been banned over the U.S.
It can startle people, it can rattle windows and cause problems. Even military flights are restricted in certain areas because the shock waves can cause so much disturbance on the ground.
But the X-59's unique shape turns that boom into more of a thump, no louder than slamming a car door. You may recall the supersonic Concorde flew for decades until it was retired in 2003 due to high operating costs and fading demand. It was only allowed to hit supersonic speeds over the ocean. The X-59, without that deafening sonic boom, could be a game changer. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying it has the potential to change the way the public flies.
An X-plane is a symbol of our collective ambition to redefine the future. And in this case, it's the future of supersonic travel.
The successful test flight yesterday is being called a significant aviation milestone. Supersonic travel could be especially important for industries involved in medical transportation and disaster relief. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 29th birthday, Cam, from family and friends. Happy 14th birthday, Blake. Love from mom, dad, brother Duke, and our puppies, Betty and Daisy. And a happy 10th birthday to Sierra Rose, with love from Dad, John, and Kukum. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. Weather is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
All right, so I mentioned that we're going to be dealing with some above seasonal temperatures. 6 degrees is where we're headed for a high temp today, when 4 is normal for this time of year. So we should surpass it, if only by a couple degrees. We went a few degrees above it last year, getting up to 7.8 degrees. But in 1950, 22.2. Ooh. That seems beautiful and balmy, doesn't it? That's not going to be in our near future, although we will see a pretty shocking improvement with these temperatures pushing up into the double digits for the weekend, not for the next few days. Today, we've got some heavier clouds hanging over us. It's currently 3 degrees. The winds at the moment are out of the south. They're 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 85%. Now, with these clouds, there is the possibility that we see a little bit of precipitation, most likely in shower form if it does show up here in Winnipeg, but there is the possibility that areas just further to the east, but also even off to the west of us, could see a flake or two of snow, the possibility of some flurries mixed in with that precipitation. And not just here in the south, up around Churchill, you too could see some of that mixed precipitation, but no matter where you are in the province, temperatures are expected to be seasonal or even slightly above, plus digits all throughout the province. And the next few days will play fairly close to seasonal, maybe above it by a degree or two. But then I mentioned the warm up for the weekend. We'll get the sunshine back by Saturday, and by Sunday and Monday, we're going to have the mercury pushing up into the double digits.
A group of volunteers pulls around wagons full of food, hygiene products, and other essentials, handing it out to people who are unsheltered or vulnerable in our city. The nonprofit organization is called Urban Wagons, and they're looking for donations and helping hands. Joining us now from Urban Wagons is social media director Ryan Frick. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for coming, Ryan. Now, tell us how Urban Wagons all began. This is about 3 years ago.
Yes.
What started it?
So Urban Wagons began, it was a group of concerned Winnipeggers who thought that downtown community members needed a little bit of help. So we started with a ladle of soup, 3 wagons, and winter clothing gear, and we just started giving it out, and we helped over 90 community members the first day, and
wow.
We were just impressed, and we just kept it going.
And this has been going on for 3 years.
Yeah.
And so how much has it grown since then?
It's grown from a couple volunteers to about 300 people in our group chat. So we have about 10 to 15 people that come out every week, a little bit less sometimes, but it all depends on everyone's schedule because it's very flexible.
Right. So this happens on Monday nights?
Monday nights at 6 p.m. We meet at the Tim Hortons on Fort and Graham. We have a deal with them where we can park in their parking lots.
Okay.
So we have free parking there. I mean, parking is free after 6. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the wagon, you have an example of the wagon here.
We
it's
have
stocked full of all kinds of things in here. What do you have?
We have our signature treat, which is wagon wheels. We have
nice.
Our new gloves that my boyfriend's grandma made, and they are one of the things that we really are desperate for because people get frostbite extremely bad in the winter, and we get asked like countless times every single walk if we have new gloves. So that's one of the things we're really looking for.
So gloves and mittens, people can donate those?
Yes.
Okay.
Juice boxes, water. We always have to buy water because everyone's looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Hygiene products, shampoo, conditioner, soap.
You have socks, which of course are super important in the wintertime as well.
Exactly, yeah.
When you go around with your wagon, I guess people have started to recognize you on the street, right? They come to you? Tell us about that vibe.
They come around and see us. It's about connecting with everyone. We love to hang out with the community members when they're choosing their food, when they're choosing their clothing, when they're getting their hygiene materials. They just recognize us. They give us hugs sometimes.
Aww.
They thank us. Sometimes they're extremely emotional as well. They haven't eaten for weeks, or we had someone that said they hadn't eaten for weeks, so they were just crying in our arms last week when we were out.
That must be so hard, but yet so rewarding.
Yeah, it's very rewarding to do, and just to know that you're having an impact in Winnipeg.
You're also hoping to direct people to the resources they need as well when you're on your journey with the wagon, right?
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that process.
So we have partnerships with Community Helpers Unite that donates the food, so we direct them to like the food banks and stuff as well. Okay. We also have these maps that we get that have like the food banks, the shelters, everything on it. So we give those out during the walks, and we direct people where they need to go for their areas.
Have you experienced any success stories where you feel like you really made a difference in someone's life?
I feel like we have. We have a lot of people that we see on the regular as well, but we see that they're sometimes getting jobs or shaping up a little bit, and their hygiene's getting better and they're eating better because of us.
And typically when you're out and about on a Monday, you get home, how do you feel?
I feel rewarded. I really do. I love what I do. We all love what we do there, and It might be tiring after a long day of work to come out and volunteer, but it's so worth it in the end.
Once you're out there and you see the success and what you're doing, it really makes a difference.
It does.
How can people support Urban Wagons?
So they can go to our website at urbanwagons.ca, or our Facebook is Urban Wagons, and our Instagram is urbanwagons.wpg.
Okay, so what do you need? Because people, if they can't walk the streets with you guys, they can certainly help with donations. What are you hoping to get?
We are hoping to get anything: money, socks, mitts, water, anything that they can spare.
And you said that your boyfriend's grandma was knitting you some mittens.
Yes.
If somebody has extra wool at home and they want to do something great with it, they can do that too, right?
They sure can. Yeah.
And where do they bring the donations?
We would even pick it up. Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. There you go. Urban Wagons. It's so easy. You're doing something really amazing and making a real difference. Thanks, Ryan, for sharing this with us. If you want more information on how you can support the cause, we have a link on our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
Welcome inside the Sports Center newsroom. Matt Scooby with your must-see moment from Wednesday forward. Clearly, we're headed to Game 5 of the World Series. Bottom 6, Shohei Ohtani going to hit one to right. Addison Barger makes a fantastic diving grab, robbing Ohtani of a hit. Barger, a great jump on that hard hit ball, laying out for the highlight reel grab. That is your must-see moment from Wednesday. Well, Thursday on TSN, Week 9 in the NFL kicks off when the Ravens visit the Dolphins. Pre-game coverage starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds, helping your home get holiday ready with Blinds by Hunter Douglas.
It's Thursday, October 30th. Encampment Response Plan. The City of Winnipeg details how it will approach the removal of unauthorized settlements and relocation of people living in them. The Prime Minister's Asian jaunt continues with discussions on defense cooperation with South Korea, especially regarding submarine construction. And the fever is catching. Of course, we mean World Series fever, as nearly 1,000 students at this school dance to the beat of the Blue Jays. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Welcome to Your Morning Winnipeg. Thank you so much for staying with us. At 8:15, Premier Wam Kanu is going to join us here in studio to discuss some of the issues affecting our province. We're also going to hear about a cold case murder from Thompson, Manitoba in 1986 involving Carrie Ann Brown. It's never been solved, and her killer has never been found. There's a new book about the case itself and the effect it had on Thompson and some of the friends who knew Carrie Ann. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that book at about 8:45. But the weather, we won't see much sun today.
No, I know. Yesterday, did you at least get a chance to enjoy it yesterday? Good, because that's it. We're not going to see that sunshine again until the weekend. But when it does come back for the weekend, it's going to bring some warmer temps with it. Right now, it's 3 degrees. There you can see the glow off to the east right now, where that sun will be rising at 8:14, so still a few minutes to go. 3 degrees with the clouds. The south winds are 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 85%. You can see how dark it's looking above with the sun. As soon as it climbs above those clouds, we won't be seeing much of it. Throughout the province, mainly cloudy conditions. You might get a few more breaks in those clouds in areas just off to the west of us. And as this system moves on through and continues off to the east, we might see a moment of clearing, but for the most part, expect the clouds today. Then if you do get to see a moment of sunshine, you'll be like, woo, lucky us. Anyway, with the clouds comes the precipitation. Green showers, the gray, some flurries, and we're seeing that off through parts of Saskatchewan as well, which may move in right along that very western border. So the possibility is there. We'll watch this whole system kind of do a bit of a wraparound, and there you can see later on today, especially along that western border, but cutting through central Manitoba with the rain and into that southeastern corner as well. It's going to linger overnight and still hanging around for tomorrow. Tomorrow, still some very scattered and patchy precipitation is expected all throughout. Maybe a few flurries through central Manitoba, should show up in more shower form here in the south, but the possibility that we'll see some of that. And then it does look like it'll clear out somewhat for the weekend. And as it clears out, those temperatures will be on the rise, and we're back up into the double digits. The next few days closer to seasonal in those mid-single digits. Thanks to Peyton, 10 years old, for our art today. I love what you've done here, and the creativity is spectacular. So draw, color, or paint for us. Send those pictures to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
New details have been released in the attack against a Winnipeg transit driver earlier this week. Police now say a youth pulled out what's believed to be a pellet gun and shot the driver in the hand during a dispute Monday afternoon. The driver was taken to a hospital with minor injuries. Tactical support and K9 units were sent to the area of Gateway Road and Springfield Road, but were unable to find the suspect. Anyone with information is being asked to contact police. Next month, the City of Winnipeg will start enforcing a ban on homeless encampments in a number of public places, and details have been released on how that will happen.
The social service agencies are going to be there to assist us, together with some bylaw officers, with the police, with the Winnipeg Fire paramedics.
The city's protocol will kick in when an encampment is flagged by a call to 311. An inspection is observed by a city worker. A bylaw officer, mobile outreach worker, and the fire paramedic service visit the site. Before removal, people will be offered supports, transportation and relocation options, and shelter information. And they will be given verbal and written notice with timelines of when they have to leave. Police may also be involved to support an eviction. Homelessness advocate Al Weeb questions how people can be evicted from a tent when there's not enough housing.
It's not a good thing to have people who have no idea about who the homeless are or how to engage with them to go in cold using a baseball bat approach.
Spokesperson says the expectation is that they will work with people to comply as quickly as they can, but there is no firm timeline in the policy to vacate an area. A city report says this will cost $244,000 this year and $382,000 next year for 2 bylaw officers and a senior coordinator. Prime Minister Mark Carney is still in South Korea, where he met with the South Korean president this morning.
We're meeting at a time when our defense cooperation is beginning, and very importantly, that our cultural ties continue to grow.
The meeting happened on the sidelines of the APEC summit, which officially opens tomorrow. Prime Minister Carney also toured a shipyard today with Defense Minister David McGuinty. Canada is in talks with a South Korean company for a possible submarine building deal. Students at a small town elementary school in Ontario are showing off their Blue Jays spirit in a big way. Isn't this a grand slam of Jays spirit? More than 900 students from kindergarten to grade 8 at Our Lady of Grace School in Angus, Ontario, suited up in Jays gear to dance and sing to OK Blue Jays. There's nothing like a 7th inning stretch at school. Here's a look at what's going on now in traffic along Osborne Street. Things have picked up over here, as you can see, but overall moving quite well. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see any problems out there, though, please let us know.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
We're talking about the HSC Millionaire Lottery, and when you buy that ticket, you could be a lucky winner, but you can also support patient care in this province, and that's what this is all about. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. I have to say these are some of my favorite interviews because I get to meet the faces behind HSC. Megan Morant joins us now to tell us all about her journey and why when you buy a ticket, early bird deadline midnight tonight, you're supporting folks like her and her family. So Megan, thank you for being here. Take us back in time to when your families utilized these services.
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad had a stroke 10 years ago and was rushed to HSC. At that point, it had been the first time that we had kind of ever stepped foot in a hospital. And I'm kind of thankful looking back that it was HSC and it was the experience that we had. So rushed into a flurry of assessments and everything in the emergency room, turned into kind of getting to know the neurosurgeon that saved my dad's life and kind of down the line inspired a career path. Everything in between was kind of the best experience that we could have hoped for. He had been left with speech aphasia post-stroke, and which was pretty difficult from seeing him go from a kind of stronger businessman to always being the life of the party to being somebody who couldn't kind of form a sentence. In terms of that, his recovery also included, down the line, 2 surgeries from Dr. Savaggio and his team, and a crazy amount of therapists, nurses, everybody along the way who's been there to shape our journey.
When you were actually there, you mentioned developing a relationship with the doctor. How does that come about?
It was very unexpected. I mean, it kind of just happened where he had introduced himself, and we had never heard the word surgery before. That had never come across our family line. So to hear surgery and to take a keen interest at such a young age, he was very supportive in that and made sure that he explained everything to me in my terms, not in the terms of medicine, which was very helpful.
Well, soon you're going to learn the medical terms. Why is that?
My end goal is to go into neurosurgery now based on Dr. Savaggio's impact in my life, and got about a year before I applied to med school.
Awesome. Well, I'll still be saying things, Rochelle, like, explain it to me like I'm 5. So it's important to know that there's good folks behind it. HSCMillionaire.com.
Thank you, Ainsley. A new study suggests moms and dads are feeling a financial pinch too when it comes to how social media, viral trends, and influencers impact the spending habits of their children. CTV's Vanessa Wright looked into it for us.
It's something parents everywhere tell their kids. Money doesn't grow on trees. But in this digital age, it's easy to forget.
Because we've changed from actual physical money, dollar bills and change, and passing that back and forth, which created a bit of friction. So we thought about what we were spending. Now it's all swipes. So swipe right, swipe left. We're doing it all digitally. So kids today don't view finances in the same way that older adults view it today.
And with the influence of social media and viral trends, teaching young people about financial literacy presents an even bigger challenge. A new study by TD Bank found 61% of Canadian parents are concerned about how social media is shaping their children's attitudes towards money.
With tap to pay, with online shopping, fraud risks, financial literacy really is a life skill that parents are concerned that their children might not have. And a large portion of those parents don't really feel confident teaching those money basics.
This Halifax mom says social media has influenced what and how much she spends on her daughter.
Everything they see on TikTok and all those, lovely sites that they watch, they need it. It's like every time they see something new or that's just come out that everybody's buying, they've got to have it.
And when it comes to where that money goes?
Clothes mostly and makeup and stuff. I'm really into that stuff more than her. So I just I definitely ask my mom for anything that's I see on social media or from my friends that I definitely ask her to buy me too.
When asked what they most want their children to learn about money, 75% said fraud and scam prevention, 71% feel budgeting is a priority, and 70% think saving and planning is most important. Experts say parents can start by having open conversations with their kids about money.
So whether that's their decisions around money, the mistakes, the lessons that they've learned, it really is going to help their kids understand using money without the stigma. 82% of the parents that we polled are already having these conversations.
Vanessa Wright, CTV News.
All right, we're looking at, yeah, how gorgeous is that? Wow. So 8:14 is official sunrise time, but that looks stunning. And we're only going to have a few minutes to enjoy this because as soon as the sun climbs above those clouds, well, then it's going to be above the clouds, and that's all we're going to see through the rest of the day. And it won't be gorgeous and glowing orange like this. 3 degrees at the moment, south winds 21 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 87%. So enjoy this moment. Honestly, this is pretty much it, because after this, we are going to have those heavier clouds kind of hanging around. With these temperatures, though, everybody is above seasonal, so normal lows would be about -5. We didn't even dip below the freezing mark this morning, so lucky us. All through southern Manitoba, you can see we're a fistful or at least a couple degrees above the freezing mark to begin the day. Most of us are dealing with some heavier clouds. I'll show you the satellite image in just a second. Right up into northern Manitoba, at least at the freezing mark, or again, a few degrees above through much of central Manitoba as well. With those clouds comes the possibility of some precipitation, and you can see it showing up there through the southeast. Not just the green showers, but the gray flurries. We could see a few flakes of snow, and off to the west, parts of Saskatchewan, you might notice that developing along that western border as well. As we continue on through the day today, 3 degrees as kids get settled into the classroom, 5 degrees by lunchtime, and a high of 6 degrees. When 4 is normal for this time of year, you can expect those above seasonal temperatures, not just today, but even tomorrow, though it will be closer to seasonal for the next few days, and cloudy for a couple with the possibility of some showers. But the weekend is looking spectacular when the sunshine returns and those temperatures soar. We're looking at some double digits. And a look outside through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. We'll leave you with this stunning shot, but we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Trump declared a halt to trade talks with Canada last week over Ontario's $75 million anti-tariff ad campaign that aired on American TV stations. It came as Canadian and U.S. negotiators have been working to hammer out a deal on tariffs targeting steel, aluminum, and energy products. Joining us now is Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew. Good morning, Mr. Premier.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Doug Ford is getting a lot of flack over this in his province. You are supportive of him. Tell us why.
Well, first off, I think it's a good ad. We're talking about Ronald Reagan, who is like the godfather of Donald Trump's party, and he's bashing tariffs, right? And this is an accurate reflection of what Ronald Reagan thought. Like, he was about free trade and respecting the relationship between Canada and the U.S. So you take this guy that everybody in Trump's party looks up to and show how he felt about tariffs. I thought it was very effective. And then you look at the response. You have the president basically giving Canada all this free publicity, making the case. I'm sure way more people saw the ad after Donald Trump made his comments and sort of had his public tantrum, if you will. So I think it was effective, because so far this year, there's been so much uncertainty with tariffs, so many impacts on us here in Canada, and we haven't been really moving the ball down the field. We haven't really made any progress since these tariffs have been announced earlier this year. And I know there's a lot of uncertainty for our ag industry, who's facing tariffs from a different direction, from China. So we got to make our case as Canadians around the world. We got to stand strong. We got to stand together as Team Canada. And that's why I've been supportive of Doug Ford, because I thought the ads were good. And I think he's showing that Canadian pride that we need right now.
But Trump is angry, and this puts all discussions on a hold. So do you think that this will get him back to the table, or will it keep him away?
Well, I think he's rattled. He's emotional. And if you're negotiating with somebody, I'd much rather have the other person be the one who's, you know, had something get under their skin rather than be on our side. And, you know, for all the talk in the media this year, what has Canada really gotten out of these talks so far? Not a lot. We've made concessions. We've extended the olive branch. We've been making the effort with America. And I think sometimes when negotiations like this are at a standstill, or we're not seeing that progress, you gotta upend things a little bit. You gotta shake things up. And so I think the ads that we saw from Ontario, using the voice of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan is the guy who invented the phrase "Make America Great Again." Right? He used that in his ads in the 80s, and now we're using his tariff opposition to effect. So we're feeling the impacts in Canada of the tariffs on our investment, on our economy. In the States, though, we kind of faded from the radar. This ad, it put us back in the national conversation in the States, because at the end of the day, Donald Trump loves tariffs. How are we going to get them to change his mind? It's when the average American starts to feel the economic pain, and they start to say, you know what, these tariffs are making my life more expensive. They're slowing down our economy. I don't like them. And so we've got to make the case. And you know what? I don't expect Donald Trump to be smiling and happy with us every step of the way as we make that case to the people of America.
In the meantime, during this trade war, the country has been working at supporting itself and doing things internally, including the expansion of the Port of Churchill, which Carney has already announced some funding for. Are there any other mega projects planned here for Manitoba?
Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting projects on the go. So first of all, on the Churchill front, we've been working closely with the federal government. Your viewers viewers may remember that Prime Minister Carney has announced this major projects office out of Calgary, led by their CEO, Dawn Farrell. She's a very impressive person from the energy industry. So her and her team have been meeting with our folks. We're working up the Churchill project and taking it to that next level. So the Prime Minister is going to be here this coming month for the Grey Cup. Hopefully things will be in good enough shape that we can provide a more detailed update on that one. And then for the two other mega projects, basically mega project is something over $1 billion, right? Okay. That's what we're talking about here. So far we've gotten a gold mine going in northern Manitoba. And then the Port of Churchill could potentially be very transformational for the region. And then the next two are in the energy space. One of them is a project that you're going to hear Manitoba Hydro talk about very soon, like in the coming weeks and months sort of thing. We're still doing the legwork. We're still speccing it out. We're still getting the Indigenous partners on side. And then the third project on the list, another massive construction opportunity for people in the steel toes and the hard hats, as we like to say. Again, we're trying to put the deal together now as we speak. Haven't done the announcement yet, but it could mean very, very big news for the Canadian and Manitoba economy.
Okay, and today we're getting a rail relocation study, which is the rail relocation of the rail yards here in the city of Winnipeg. We're out of time, but that's something to look forward to today as well. Yeah,
Lloyd Axworthy, great guy, former Liberal cabinet minister. He's been looking at, of course, the big tracks in the north end, but what you're going to see in this interim report today is him also saying, well, what about the smaller rail lines in the west end, in St. Boniface, in River Heights? Maybe those are more bite-sized projects that we can take a look at to make the city more livable and power our economy.
Mr. Premier, thanks for your time today.
Thanks so much.
All right, so the sun is up now. That's the good news. The bad news is we've got so many clouds that we're not going to be seeing much in the way of sunshine today. 3 degrees is where we're sitting, but we're also not seeing any precipitation, not at this time anyway, though the possibility is there. The winds at the moment, they're out of the south, 21 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, and the humidity is sitting at 87%. So, yes, we've got some heavier clouds. And we're not going to enjoy that sunshine. I hope you got your fill of it yesterday. And that fill will have to probably last you until the weekend, because the next couple of days, we will deal with these clouds, and more than clouds, the possibility of some precipitation tucked in there. All through the south, the possibility of some showers, or for some, maybe even some flurries in around the Sprague area, tucked in that southeastern corner. You might see some flurries mixed in there. Also, along the western border, the possibility of a few flakes of snow. And then more likely up around the Churchill area, you too could see some showers or a bit of a rain-snow mix. Temperatures, they're going to remain slightly above seasonal, not by much, but maybe surpassing normal values by a degree or two. And that'll be the case for the next couple of days. But when the sunshine comes out this weekend, that's when the mercury will really soar. Our weather picture is absolutely stunning. Little Kona there in the foreground on the right-hand side of your screen, enjoying the beautiful sky. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca, and we'll be back right after this break.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Just one day until the big day, that's Halloween, of course. We want you to get ready with fun for all ages. Lifestyle expert Denise Wild joins us now with some fun suggestions. Good morning, Denise.
Good morning, Ainsley. Only one day. Are we ready?
Oh, well, it looks like your table's ready.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Spiders?
Yes, let's start with a super fun DIY. This is a giant spider wall that you can make using just a ball of yarn and some colorful spiders. So you're going to take some removable hooks and put them at large distances on either a plain wall. You could do this on your front door, maybe on your garage door. And then you just wrap and tie the yarn around in a spider web pattern, creates this giant, beautiful spider web, and then just tape on some little felt spiders. You can cut them out of paper, whatever you'd like, but it's just a great, simple way to make a huge impact.
And it looks like you're going to be everyone's favorite. You've got a candy station. What would Halloween be?
Okay, exactly. So lots of people, you know, we all love Halloween. This is a great idea to do a candy station that's at the end of your driveway. So Mars Canada did a spectacular trend report, found that 2 in 3 Canadians plan to get involved in this year's festivities, but we also know how trick-or-treating can pose barriers for those with disabilities or even pets. So this is just a great way to make Halloween even more inclusive. You're going to turn a box into a monster using some simple craft supplies and some glue. The monster can sit at the end of your driveway along with your basket of Mars favorites. So this is great for trick-or-treaters who are facing mobility barriers, and it reduces your doorbell ringing. So if you have a skittish pet at home, your furry friends will have a more, like, just a better time, right? They'll be more relaxed. And it's just about giving a great experience to all of your neighbors, no matter what their abilities.
I actually love that, but a couple chocolate bars, you might get some sticky fingers. Do you have a solution?
Exactly. Okay, so this is a great product for cleanups, especially around Halloween when you have sticky faces, sticky fingers, and parents, great news for parents, because these popular wipes just got a major upgrade. Water wipes are now twice as thick. They are noticeably, twice as strong, noticeably thicker. They're even softer, gentler on skin, and they still have the same 2-ingredient formula, 99.9% water, plus a drop of fruit extract. These are made in Ireland. They're great for sensitive skin, and they're just a great thing to have around for Halloween. You know, maybe you're cleaning up some face paint, some sticky snacks, or if you have on-the-go diaper changes like me, as a parent, I have these handy all year long.
Or just a messy human being. I love it. What's last?
Finally, let's take some milk cartons and we'll turn them into a little haunted house, a little haunted Halloween. Spray paint them black and then use some construction paper, some chalk paint markers, and just dress them up. It's a really fun project, easy to do. And then, you know, instead of recycling, we're reusing things, and these Halloween decorations can go year to year.
If I wasn't ready for Halloween before, I definitely am now. I can't wait for you guys to see my costume. Okay, Denise, thank you so much.
I'm excited. Thanks, Ainsley.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Oh, looking a little bit brighter now. That sun finally up, throwing a little bit of daylight our way now. It's 3 degrees, but we do still have those heavier clouds hanging over us. South winds 21 kilometers per hour with the pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 87%. So far, we've really only seen clouds. The possibility is there of a few brief passing showers, although it almost looks like the bulk of that has now moved on further east of Winnipeg, but it will continue to track further into that southeastern corner of the province with showers or maybe even some flurries. And speaking of flurries, you could be seeing some of that along the western border eventually. Right now, it's further west in much of Saskatchewan. Now, as the day goes on, it will be, like I said, on the cloudier side, but above seasonal as far as the temperatures go. We're at 3 degrees right now. 4 is actually a normal daytime high. We'll go a couple beyond that to about 6 degrees. That's where we'll top out today with the clouds lingering and the possibility of those showers. We'll also deal with a bit of a breeze out of the southwest at about 20 kilometers per hour. And then tonight, still with the clouds hanging around, we'll drop to about 2 degrees. But a normal low temperature would be about -5. So again, that blanket of clouds provides a little bit of insulation to keep those temps a little bit milder, and then back up to 5 degrees tomorrow. Tomorrow, again, the possibility of maybe some brief passing precipitation. After that, looking into the weekend, we'll see those clouds breaking up a little bit. A little more sunshine, a little more warmth. We could be pushing up into the double digits, and some above seasonal temperatures expected to last well into the middle of next week.
A youth who was 15 years old when he fatally attacked 3 vulnerable people has been handed a life sentence. A Manitoba Court of King's Bench justice sentenced the now 18-year-old male to life in prison with no chance of parole for 7 years. The teen previously pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and manslaughter in the beating deaths of Danielle Ballantyne, Marvin Felix, and Troy Baguli in August 2022 near Winnipeg's downtown. He can't be identified because he was a youth when the crimes were committed. The defense asked for him to be sentenced as a youth, meaning a combination of 7 years in and out of custody, while Crown prosecutors argued the teen should be sentenced as an adult. The justice sided with the Crown, saying a youth sentence would be insufficient and wouldn't hold the teen properly accountable for his crimes. The vast majority of children and youth who died in Manitoba over the past year were Indigenous. That's according to data in the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth's annual report released Wednesday. It shows of the 206 people who died between birth and age 20, 80% were Indigenous, and a little more than half were under the age of 2. The data is preliminary and may change as autopsies are completed. Avian influenza has been found on 5 farms in Manitoba this month. According to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the cases were detected in commercial poultry flocks on 3 farms in the RM of Hanover and 1 each in the RMs of Bifrost, Riverton, and St. Rose. They were found between October 9th and 25th. These are the first cases detected in Manitoba since May. The exact number of infected birds wasn't released. As per protocol, the animals will be destroyed and quarantine and decontamination measures will be put in place. The CFIA notes bird flu is not a food safety concern and there's no evidence eating cooked poultry or eggs can transmit the virus. General Motors is laying off about 1,700 workers across manufacturing sites in Michigan and Ohio. The news comes as the auto giant adjusts the slowing demand for electric vehicles. The cuts cover about 1,200 jobs at an all-electric plant in the Detroit area and 550 workers at another plant in Ohio. Hundreds of other employees are slated for temporary layoffs. Discount retailer Zellers is making yet another comeback with a relaunch today at a mall in Edmonton. There will be a multi-phased rollout, and by spring 2026, Zellers will begin announcing new locations across the country. The company says it will carry affordable family products featuring clothing, home goods, and luggage. A sobering reality check on the state of the country's economy. The Bank of Canada cutting its key interest rate to 2.25%, and also warning that the tools it has to mitigate the impact of the trade turbulence are limited. It also adds it can't restore the economy to its pre-tariff path. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports.
The Bank of Canada delivering a bleak outlook, slashing growth projections as tariffs drive up costs for businesses and fuel uncertainty.
Part of it is structural. The U.S. has swerved to protectionism. It's harder to do business with the United States. That has destroyed some of the capacity in this country.
The bank is projecting Canada will narrowly avoid a recession with growth just 0.75% for the second half of 2025, and the economy overall 1.5% smaller by the end of 2026 than initially forecast. To help ease the trade shock, the central bank has cut rates to 2.25%.
There's nothing to cheer about here. I think we're lowering interest rates because the economy is under immense strain.
For now, the bank suggests it's done lowering rates as long as its growth forecasts don't change and inflation remains around 2%. But with unpredictable trade policies south of the border, experts say change can happen fast.
If U.S. policy stays where it is, then we can have a little more confidence in these kind of projections. But of course, the president can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and suddenly Canada's in a recession.
Macklem acknowledges there's not much more the bank can do to put the economy back on a better growth trajectory. That's why experts say they'll be looking extra closely to see what policies and spending the government includes in next week's budget.
Here's what's happening now along Main and Broadway. We have no issues to tell you about here. Looks like things are moving quite smoothly. If you have any problems out on the streets, let us know, please. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.32. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.28. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.27. And the lowest price in the city is $1.16. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
For our question of the day, we wanted to know what's your favorite Halloween memory. Marlene's best memory was when she dressed her daughter Jane like Pippi Longstocking and made her braids stick out and her son was a scarecrow. Louise says it's when her husband hooked the quad up to a small trailer, adding a roof and decorating it with pumpkin lights. He then loaded up their daughter and neighbors' kids and drove around the area trick-or-treating. Louise says the kids had a blast and the neighborhood loved it. Thank you for your responses. All right, let's go back to Ainsley McPhail now, who's been spending the morning in a gorgeous house. And it's all about the HSC Millionaire Lottery. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. That early bird deadline, midnight tonight. Megan and I were just looking around going, how would we decorate this home? So if you win, let us know how you decorate it. Megan, your dad was a patient over 10 years ago now. You talked about your experience. Maybe give us a refresher, but also the patient care being phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. So my dad had a stroke 10 years ago and was brought into HSC. From the moment we had walked into the emergency room, it was the first time my mom and I had ever been kind of on the patient end of everything, or the family end. And just the amount of care and compassion that each and every individual put into us was overwhelming, almost at a point. From the first neurologist we met to, of course, my dad's neurosurgeon at the end. Everybody there was incredibly compassionate, empathetic, and if you want to be at if you have to be at HSC, sorry, that's the experience that you want, and that's the experience we received.
How's Dad doing now?
He's doing good. 10 years later now, he's traveling, he's retired, he's kind of, as we have the best outcome that we could have expected. Yeah.
When it comes to those follow-ups, because I'm sure there were many, what was that transition like, and what were those experiences like?
Well, we had gone from a family who had never stepped foot in a hospital to a family who kind of looked at every single symptom Dad had, consistently following up with doctors, any kind of physician, and then of course my dad's neurosurgeon. He went in for a yearly ultrasound on his carotid artery, and every single year it was almost the same ultrasound tech who remembered him, and Dad was able to kind of have that experience. Dad went in for a second procedure in 2018, and when he went in for that, it was the same thing. It was my dad's neurosurgeon, but then also a nurse, Rebecca. She had kind of remembered where Dad had been the first time on the step-down unit at HSC. So it was really nice. The level of care was very nice. Yeah.
I'd ask her why you should buy a ticket, but I think she already answered, Rochelle. Pardon me. Head to a link on the website for more details.
Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It looks dark out there, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, that's just because we can't see the sun. It's up now, but the clouds, they're pretty heavy, and they're going to remain that way today. So don't expect to be seeing much in the way of sunshine. I know yesterday we had that beautiful, bright, sunny day. No, we're not going to get that again. We will still get these above seasonal temperatures, not by much, but remaining slightly above what you would expect this time of year. We're sitting at 3 degrees right now. That's well above normal lows. Seasonal low temperatures would be about -5, so we're several degrees above that. With winds out of the south, they're 21 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 87%. Now I'm looking at these clouds. That's all we're seeing for now, but the possibility is there to see a few scattered showers, or for some areas through the southeastern part of the province, and then along that western border, you may see a few flakes of snow. The chance of some mixed precipitation is there. We're certainly starting to notice these slightly cooler temperatures, and even though we're slightly above seasonal, when lows would have us well below the freezing mark and daytime highs only a few degrees above, you know the precipitation this time of year could anytime show up in flurry form, and we may see a few flakes of that snow arriving in parts of Manitoba today. Tomorrow will still be on the cloudier side and still with some scattered showers, but the weekend is looking beautiful and bright with the sunshine returning again. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be returning with more Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
A BC boy is preparing for an extra special Halloween on Friday. The 5-year-old was forced to miss out last year to have heart surgery. CTV's Adam Sawatsky has more on his long road back to trick-or-treating.
If you ask Ian Itzma about his favorite thing,
Star Wars.
The 5-year-old will tell you all sorts of stuff about Star Wars.
Luke Skywalker tries to kill Darth Vader.
But if you ask his mom, Natalie, about her most difficult days,
I was gutted. It was really hard.
She'll tell you all about when Ian endured his first heart surgery when he was just 2 weeks old.
And there still is times where we actually don't really know what his life expectancy is going to look like.
Preparing for Ian's third surgery was the hardest, his dad David says, because the then 4-year-old knew what was going on.
When he walks down the hallway to the surgery room saying, I'm scared, Mommy, I'm scared, Daddy, it breaks your heart.
On top of that, the only day the specialist could do the surgery was on Ian's favorite holiday, Halloween.
You get to dress up as anything you want.
When Ian's neighbors heard about the situation, they rallied together to organize something special a couple nights before the boy's surgery.
We had like almost 100 trick-or-treaters, yet Ian was the only one going door to door getting candy.
Ian was too weak to walk too far, so after dressing up as an astronaut, the boy was rocketed around the neighborhood in a donated golf cart.
Knowing that they weren't getting anything on their end, they were just there just to support our little guy. Melts your heart.
Along with a pile of candy, Ian received books and toys to keep him entertained in the hospital post-surgery.
And he just lit up, and just the smile on his face made everything just so magical.
Campbell.
A year later, Ian is doing better than ever and looking forward to being out on a real Halloween night with his whole family wearing Star Wars costumes.
And what are you going to dress up as?
Jedi.
A Jedi?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
As they say in a galaxy far, far away, the Force is strong with this one. And it turns out, in this community so close, the same can be said about this family and their neighbors. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, North Vancouver.
15-year-old Carrie Ann Brown was last seen at a house party in Thompson in October 1986. The teen's body was found outside the city 2 days later. Her homicide has never been solved. Her murder devastated her family, her friends, and the entire community. 4 decades later, a new book is shedding light on the Carrie Ann Brown murder and the impact it had on those who knew and loved her. The book is titled The Deafening Sound of Sorrow, written by Kathy Ricard. Joining us now is author Kathy Ricard. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, obviously, the case being unsolved, that's the main focus of most people when they think about Carrie.
Yeah, true crime.
But you were friends with Carrie.
Yes.
You hung out with her.
Yes.
And when it happened, it had a major impact on the community, including on you.
Yes.
You want to focus more on who she was in this book. Tell us a little bit about why you wanted to do that.
Because every time it was brought up, anniversaries, or her. I've had friends die in the past of my childhood, tragically or accidentally. And when I think of them, I think of memories I've had with them, not how they died. And for this, I just wanted to focus on her, change the narrative a little bit, and remember her beautiful memory and how she inspired me, impacted my entire life. Every milestone in my life, I've always thought of her. Every point that, something happened great to me.
Yeah.
Going to school, having children, having a 15-year-old daughter, and realizing and putting myself in Carrie's parents' position. Like, how could you lose a 15-year-old daughter? Or my son, who happens to be born on her birthday.
Wow.
So I just remember that hit me hard, that what I was carrying, holding in my arms, was the means to measure the pain of losing a child.
Right.
So on the 35th anniversary, when a friend called me up and, he knew I wrote this book. He knew the name I had given him.
So you had started the book
in my 20s.
And then you shelved it. But the book was mainly about Carrie, the murder itself.
It was angry.
Okay.
It focused more on who did it and the suspects and how it, everybody was angry about it. And because Carrie wasn't a risk taker. She wasn't the type of girl to put herself in a situation, right? She was very cautious. She was very shy, very cute, lovable. And I couldn't decide whether cute or pretty was the right word to describe her.
Yeah.
So I called her pretty cute in the book. So yeah, it was just more focusing on how she impacted my life. I met her in the summer of 1986. We hung out with a bunch of great, goofy teenagers. We did stupid stuff, card tag on the city streets, partied. Yes, we drank.
Yeah.
But we hung out and we had this bond. And I don't know why we came together, because we came from all parts of the city. And it just totally threw us for a loop. So, and those memories I have of her, I try to glom onto them, but when this person called me, this old friend, and we argued, I said, there's no end. Everybody wants an end. I'm waiting. I knew that if they were caught or arrested, I could pull out that box again and look at it. But this time when I looked at it, I saw anger and resentment and pointing fingers, and I can write better. I can do better. I can make a better story. So that's what I did. I focused on her. And then while writing the book, I was, oh my God, what inspired us? We created a youth group I stood up in front of all the schools in Thompson and talked about safety and the lessons we learned. There was such a communication screw up back then. Somebody thought she was sleeping at, you know, her best friend's house. Her mom thought she went home. There was, so we didn't know she was missing until noon the next day. So we focused on that and that message. Take care of each other, look out for each other, because this could happen anywhere.
So the deafening sound of sorrow, you chose that title. Can you tell me why?
I couldn't get it out of my mind because I worked for South Power for 27 years. I wrote SOPs. What triggered it? So when I decided to change the trajectory of the book, writing SOPs, what triggers the SOP? What triggers the thing? It was when on October 18th at 7:10 p.m. I picked up the phone to all my friends crying. And I'll never forget it. Nobody, I knew they had found a body. A body. I remember thinking at 14 years old, what does that mean? A body? It's dead, right? A body means dead. And then we waited 6 hours to have her identified by her father because her mother was blind. And then I was waiting for the call, and at 7:10, that's when everything just changed for us. We just turned it.
We're out of time already.
Okay.
The Deafening Sound of Sorrow is available in all books. If this murder remains unsolved, if you do have any information that could lead to the arrest, you're asked to call RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing this with us.
Thank you.
All right, outside right now, we're dealing with some heavier clouds. It's 3 degrees with a south wind, 21 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling, humidity sitting at 87%. Those heavier clouds are going to stick around through the day today and through the day tomorrow with the possibility of some scattered showers both of these days. Temperatures, they're still going to be slightly above seasonal, not by much though, 4 degrees normal for this time of year. So the next few days, just a fistful of degrees above the freezing mark. But then they soar with the sunshine returning for the weekend. We've got some double digits on tap on Sunday, remaining mild through the middle of next week. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Before we set you off, we're going to show you some fun video, and we love babies on the show. Babies usually stop crying for many reasons. Food, toys are to be changed, but this baby has only one thing that'll make him stop.
You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money.
Yeah, it's a foot rub for this passenger princess. Big Brother knows exactly what to do when the foot is placed in front of his face during a car ride. Nothing but laughter and love between these two. Oh my God.
Just wait a few years when that foot comes through that back seat. Don't make me turn this car around.
It'll be a slap. Well, the pirate's life is truly the life for this couple.
Who goes there?
Tom and Patty Blackstone have been putting together pirate-themed Halloween displays for the past 7 years. The ship opens up into their garage to show a below-deck scene which features skeleton pirates and also has working cannons. Very cool.
That's impressive.
And finally, there's nothing wrong with singing alone, especially if you have the right mirror. This guy is taking full advantage of all the angles while lip-syncing to this classic tune from the band Dead or Alive. So good.
Nice.
Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.